Good evening, friends. Generally, we write 4 questions in the beginning. ज़्यादा वॉल्यूम ज़्यादा है मेरे ख्याल से, है ना? एको हो रहा है. So generally, we write 4 questions in the beginning of the class. But today, because this class was on YouTube, so I did not want new online students to be looking at a board where just 4 questions are mentioned. So what I'll do is, I'll take more classes on environment disaster on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There we'll write 8 questions. On first day we'll write 8 questions. Science plus environment पूरा आप रिवाइज करके रखिएगा. We will be writing 8 questions in the beginning. So today we are starting with environment, biodiversity and climate change and disaster management. These 2 topics are overlap topics. And as a tradition is, we will first analyze PYQs, because analysis of PYQ of since 2013 will help us understand what are the kind of questions UPSC has been asking. Like in preliminary examination, there's no syllabus and they end up asking everything and anything, and that's why we end up studying a lot. But in mains examination, once we analyze PYQ, we'll get to know that there are standard set of questions, standard areas where question would be asked, and that is why our study has to be much more precise. It doesn't have to be as comprehensive as it was for preliminary examination. It will be like for every topic we should be able to write 150 words, 250 words, and the important topics, not each and every topic, each and every random program, initiative, report. We do not have to know any of those things. Okay, so let's first analyze these questions. If you look at the syllabus of environment, biodiversity and climate change, if you look at the syllabus of environment, biodiversity and climate change, कर लो बंद यार जल्दी से. If you look at the syllabus, you have conservation, environmental pollution and degradation, environmental impact assessment. So in environmental pollution and degradation, when we will analyze the PYQs, we will see they're asking questions from air pollution, they're asking questions from water pollution, they've also asked questions from solid waste management, and thus they may ask questions from plastic pollution also, they may ask questions from e-waste management also. And so these topics is something that we need to cover systematically. ऐसे ही when you will go to conservation, if you remember, at the time of prelims we have studied national conservation efforts, international conservation efforts. Here we'll see the questions from some of the most important areas there have been asked. Then environmental impact assessment mein they have asked questions like what is the impact of coal mining, what is the impact of sand mining in coastal areas, or environmental impact assessment notification and the good things about it, the bad things about it. And then though climate change is not specifically mentioned, but when you will talk about environmental degradation or when you will talk about conservation, climate change also come into play. So climate change, desertification, land degradation, उस पे भी questions आए हैं. Though in last 10 years they haven't asked questions on ozone layer depletion, but we'll still prepare it. Will be, because it's a major topic, it's a very important topic, we will still be covering all this. Okay, so let us look at questions of 2023 first. Acha, another interesting thing, they're asking equal number of questions in paper 1 also from environment. You will see in 2023 I'm mentioning 6 questions only from environment that has been asked. Here I'm not including disaster management. Only from environment 6 questions have been asked. Look at the first question. Yeah, this is from GS paper 1 2023. Discuss the consequence of climate change on food security in tropical countries. Environment का question हो गया. So climate change के implication on various things we will study. Why is the world today confronted with the crisis of availability and excess of fresh water resources? Fresh water resources, yeah, water stress, these kind of questions have regularly been asked by UPSC. So when we'll study water, we'll ensure that these type of areas are thoroughly done, properly covered, so that no matter what kind of water related question they ask, groundwater से related, river water pollution से related, या फिर fresh water availability से related questions comes, we should be properly able to answer that. Then identify and discuss the factors responsible for diversity of natural vegetation in India. Why biodiversity? There's a lot of biodiversity in India. That again a biodiversity related question, again an environment related question. Assess the significance of wildlife sanctuaries in rainforest region of India. What is the use of, what is the advantage of, what is the significance of wildlife sanctuaries? So wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, इनके बारे में in preliminary examination we used to study where is which wildlife sanctuary located, what is in there. But here we'll understand the importance of protected areas, why they are significant. Okay, then pollution. If you come to GS3, I think this was asked in GS3, oil pollution. So I have said we will study about air pollution, water pollution, municipal solid waste, plastic pollution, e-waste. वहाँ पे oil pollution is also something that we should be looking at. And then we'll also, while studying air pollution, we'll also briefly talk about noise pollution and this thing, light pollution. We don't know, like pollution page, when they're asking questions, we should be comprehensively prepared. Then National Wetland Conservation, comment on the National Wetland Conservation Program initiated by Government of India. So Ramsar sites, Ramsar Convention pe they have asked questions in the past also, wetlands pe they have asked questions in the past also, and in 2023 they also asked the question, and then they asked something factual, like name a few of India's wetland of international importance included in the Ramsar sites. Prelims के time में you had studied 80 Ramsar sites, but here you just had to name a few of them, and while naming, just write a line of significance about them. In 2018 also they had asked the same thing. They had asked you in the second part of the question, we'll go to 2018 question, they had asked questions related to wetlands, and then they had asked you to answer or name a few of wetlands. So not that difficult, easy one. IPCC has predicted a global sea level rise in about 1 meter of about 1 meter by 2100. What would be its impact on India and other countries in the Indian Ocean region? So basically, sea level rise, say impact of sea level rise is simply, they are not asking you to critically analyze it, nothing. What is going to be its impact? Because it's a 250 word question, we'll also try to do what? We'll also try to ensure that we are talking about how do we deal with that. है ना? Introduce कि क्यों sea level rise हो रहा है? Main body should be what is going to be its impact on India and its neighboring or in the Indian Ocean region, and way forward में briefly, though they haven't directly asked you to suggest measures for dealing with the problem, but briefly in the way forward you mention the how will we avoid one, how will we mitigate climate change so that this rise doesn't take place, and then two, how will we adapt so that even when the rise takes place we are protected, right? Then so there were 6 questions. Look at the significance of environment and disaster management. 6 questions, and here I have not included disaster management wala question. If we include disaster management also, there were 8 questions. अब पता है, if you look at economy is such a big area, वहाँ से 8 सवाल आते हैं. And if you remove agriculture from there, agriculture gives you 4 questions, and rest of the economy gives you 4 questions. But the kind of efforts that we put for economy in mains is too high when compared to the kind of efforts that we put for environment and disaster management, while its significance has been improving. You will be surprised at the consistent increase in the weightage of environment, biodiversity and climate change. पहले आप, if you will go to 2013, you will see very few questions. अभी हम नीचे जाएंगे, we'll see the questions are kept on decreasing. मतलब since 2013 it has kept on increasing. Abhi there are 6 questions. If we include disaster management also, there are 8 questions. Okay, let's look at the questions of 2022. Examine the potential of wind energy in India and explain the reasons for their limited spatial spread. Simple renewable energy का question, but as we know, we study this with economy. हम infrastructure में energy पढ़ेंगे, and there we will study this in detail. Renewable energy is not something that we cover here with environment, biodiversity and climate change. Then discuss in details about the photochemical smog. Prelims के time आपने पढ़ा है, but even at the time of mains, this is telling you what? This is telling you, देखो, एक तो in general air pollution related questions would come. कि why does Delhi face so much of air pollution? Or what are the key challenges cities, what are the key issues cities in India are facing related to air pollution? But they may ask you about individual pollutants also. Photochemical smog is one of the pollutants, right? So we should be prepared with this kind of questions too. Ki fly ash, nitrogen pollution, sulfur dioxide pollution, ammonia pollution. जैसे photochemical smog से question आ गया है, they may ask you those kind of questions also, but that's not our priority. So what I'm doing today, say today I'm covering air pollution, so what I'm doing is I'm covering 6-7 major areas of it. जो individual pollutants वाली चीजें हैं ना, I'm giving you at the end of note so that you can read it yourselves. The chances of them coming is slightly lesser, but as we have told you, for your entire GS3 preparation, only the things that you are covering in classes should be enough. So even those fringe areas which have less chances of coming should be there in the notes, in your notes at the end, so that in case they come, we will be able to answer them comfortably. Okay, let's go to 2000. We are talking about 2023 to 22 may discuss global warming and mention its effect on global climate. A very basic, again देखो, most of the questions are what? Very simple basic one. So the most important areas should be so well prepared that when you get a question on them, you should are writing a beautiful intro, impacts अच्छे से समझा रहे हो, you're writing excellent conclusion. These are the areas the areas getting repeated again and again. जिस पे you should be like getting 6.57 out of 10. इतने अच्छे से prepared होने चाहिए, so that other areas which are a bit fringe और जिसको हम सोच के like areas where we'll think in the examination, where we'll write, even if we get 4, 3 something like that, our score in GS would be way better. Our score in GS will be excellent. Okay, so discuss global warming. आपने देखा 2023 में they have asked 2 questions on climate change. One was climate change impact on tropical countries. Other was if sea level rise takes place, what happens to Indian Ocean region. Then they are again asking question on climate change. What is discuss global warming and mention its effect on global climate. Explain the control measures to bring down the level of greenhouse gas which causes global warming in light of Kyoto Protocol. They asked Kyoto Protocol. Paris Agreement is in force now, but they asked 1997 ka Kyoto Protocol. So in light of 1997 Kyoto Protocol, explain what are the measures that should be taken to bring down greenhouse gases emission. Explain the cause and effect of coastal erosion in India. Environmental impacts में भी पढ़ सकते हैं, या in general I'll cover it with water issues. When I'll cover water issues, I'll talk about water pollution, river pollution. I'll also talk about dead zones और वो सारी चीजें, वो भी water pollution की वजह से ही हो रहा है. And there we'll also briefly discuss coastal areas and issues associated with coastal areas. What are the environmental implications of reclamation of water bodies into urban land? Urban areas में when we are taking over ponds, we are reclaiming land from there. What is the implication of that? How do melting of Arctic ice and glaciers of Antarctic differently able to affect the weather pattern and human activities on the earth? Melting of polar region में ice से what is happening to the weather pattern is something that they are asking. Okay, then so again climate change वाला area that we'll study with climate change. Explain the purpose of green grid initiative. Now a very important part. अब देखो, these kind of thing has been asked. An initiative. So far you saw that initiatives were not asked, general things were asked. But here initiative, green grid initiative. So your doubt would be, sir, should we be remembering the facts and figures of these important initiatives? So please note, in all these cases, whenever they have asked these kind of questions, these things have happened within 3-4 months of your examination. This was not something that happened a year back or 2 years back. So what we'll do in your notes only, within these 6 months, all the important initiatives which are there, we will cover them in detail. बाकी सबको ऊपर से cover करेंगे, what were their objectives, what were their targets, how effective they have been, but these things would be covered in a lot of details. Something similar was the situation with science and technology. If you remember, they asked you the various payloads on Chandrayaan. Why did they ask that? Because Chandrayaan had happened, Chandrayaan 3 had landed only a month before examination. So they may get into that kind of detail, but not for every initiative you will go into the details. At the time of prelims we do that, but at the time of mains we don't do that, and neither does UPSC ask it. Otherwise हम कुछ पढ़ ही नहीं पाएंगे. We'll keep on cramming facts from those smaller initiatives. So this green grid initiative, देखो, this is 2021 mains. It was, the paper was in 2022 January. 2021 mains का paper was in 2022 January, and United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change का COP26 was happening in November-December 2021. वहाँ से पूछा, and that's why they could ask things in lot more depth. So we will also ensure कि इस 5-6 महीने में जो चीजें हो रही हैं, we will study them in greater details. Are we getting this? Okay. Then when was the idea first floated in the International Solar Alliance? Green Grid Initiative का idea was floated a year back at the meeting of International Solar Alliance. They asked this fact also. Now, another factual thing. Describe the key points of the revised global air quality guidelines. Air quality guidelines WHO ने रिवाइज किए थे कब? September 2021 में. And your mains was where? January 2022. Within 3-4 months. उसको उन्होंने पूछ लिया. This fact, तो देखो, what are the facts that we have to study? PYQs will tell us that. We do not have to remember every fact for examination, but some things which are happening in these 3-4 months, usme they may go into details. Here, this is a completely factual question. Key points of the revised global air quality guidelines. So you have to talk about why the revision took place and then how it is different from the 2005 guidelines. How emission norms have been made more stringent. Later, a year later, they also asked this in preliminary examination. In 2022 prelims also they had asked this question. But in 2021, why did they ask this fact? Means you're not supposed to study a lot of facts because it's something which is very recent. So April से August तक any initiative related to environment, any initiative related to science, we will cover in slightly more details, looking at its facts also, but others we will cover very broadly, looking at its analysis only. Are you understanding the significance of doing these PYQs and looking at these PYQs? It helps us streamline our preparation. If we don't do that, then a teacher may give you a lot of factual things and say, देखो पूछा है ना UPSC ने, air quality guidelines के बारे में UPSC ने पूछा है ना, तो study all other guidelines also. You don't know what they may ask. But the reality is UPSC has asked this because it was very recent. You do not have to study all the other guidelines. CPCB के standards क्या हैं, वो सब पढ़ते रहोगे तो what would happen? The core areas would be ignored. Your preparation would be hampered. That is something that we don't have to do. Okay, then 2021 में ही describe the major outcomes of 26th session of COP. Again, this is happening in December. Your exam is in January. Major outcomes पूछा है. क्या हमें पता होना चाहिए था? पता होना चाहिए था. But in your case COP 28 was held last year in December. We will look at the major outcomes of COP 28 and analyze how successful it was, what were the limitations which remains, what should be the way forward. Though it's slightly older, but it is the biggest meet that takes place for climate change, and climate change is a favorite topic for UPSC. Though they have not specifically mentioned climate change in the syllabus, but we have seen that every year, if you combine GS1 and GS3, multiple questions are being asked. Right? Then, the process of desertification doesn't have climatic boundaries. Justify with example. So desertification, they're saying that basically no matter in which climate you are living in the world, desertification is taking place everywhere. It's taking place in tropical areas, it's taking place in subtropical areas, it is taking place in colder regions. It doesn't have any climatic boundary. Explain this with examples. Then examine the status of forest resources of India and its resultant impact on climate change. तो यहाँ पे briefly, if you remember state of forest report के थोड़े से facts. What is the status of forest in India? Briefly, if you can answer, like which are the states which have a lot of forest, which is the type of forest which we have more in numbers, which is the type of forest which we have lesser. Briefly वो mention करना है, and we know with forest cover increasing, our fight against climate change gets enhanced. That is the second part of the. Vishal is asking, I'm a part of current affairs program. Vishal, if you are part of 2024 current affairs program 23-24, GS2 और GS3 में आपको खुद से कुछ नहीं करना है. In target mains, we cover each and every point of the syllabus. This is part of your current affairs program also. In mains masters program, a lot of independent students who are not part of our program have joined this course. But GS2 and GS3 thoroughly पूरा mains के लिए हमारा current affairs program में syllabus wise we cover. Okay. So let's come back. So forest resource दिस विल टेल यू लाइक दिस विल टेल यू कि हमें फॉरेस्ट रिसोर्स वाला सेक्शन भी थोड़ा सा पढ़ना होगा, थोड़ी वो चीजें भी समझने कि फॉरेस्ट कितना है, फॉरेस्ट कंजर्व करने के लिए हम क्या कर रहे हैं, व्हाट इज द वे अहेड, दोस थिंग्स वी शुड बी प्रिपेयर्ड विद, बिकॉज यूपीएससी दो दे आर आस्किंग इट इन पेपर 1, बट व्हाट इज द इशू। मैंने जो आपको ज्योग्राफी सर पढ़ाने आएंगे, आई हैव टोल्ड हिम डू नॉट कवर एनवायरमेंट रिलेटेड इश्यूज, यू फोकस ऑन रिसोर्सेस एंड physical phenomena which are asked in the examination rather than both of us covering the same topics. वहाँ पे भी disaster management आता है, glacial lake outburst flood, urban flood, those kind of things are asked there also, cyclones, those things are asked there also, those things are asked in disaster management also, so we'll cover it here thoroughly, we do not have to cover it. Okay, then how does draft EIA notification differ from existing EIA notification? There's a EIA notification 2006. In 2020, government brought draft notification to change it. Now, sometimes teachers tell you, यार जो चीजें अभी पास नहीं हुई ना फाइनली, उस पर ध्यान मत देना. This has not been passed even till now, but it was so controversial. It was being discussed so much that they asked you, what is the problem with it? How is it different and why is it creating problems? It was so controversial that it could not ever come into force. But even without it being notified, they asked this. Remember that. Aisa they have done in the past also. So whenever I teach something, I analyze a lot of PYQs. मैं जब सोशल जस्टिस पढ़ाता हूँ तो सोशल जस्टिस में सारे PYQs एनालाइज करता हूँ. मैंने देखा है पहले ना सोशल जस्टिस से रिलेटेड, जैसे चाइल्ड लेबर से रिलेटेड जब बिल भी है, उन्होंने बिल पे क्वेश्चंस पूछे हैं. So when someone gives you random rule, without analyzing PYQs, they'll not be giving you the right scenario. So draft, bills, they have asked these things, no. वो भी हमें पढ़ना है if it's very important, if it's very controversial. Okay, then let's go to what are the salient features of Jal Shakti Abhiyan launched by Government of India for water conservation. Again, water, climate change, water, forest, air, and other type of pollution. These are the areas getting repeated again and again. So water pollution, water conservation से related ये सारी चीजें we will be studying, and will not be studying them in a lot of detail. 150 word, 250 word answer we should be able to write. That will be our focus. We have studied them in details at the time of prelims. उस time वो कुछ भी पूछ लेते, कोई भी provision पूछ लेते. But in mains examination, again we'll have to keep this in mind. We just have to write a 150 word or 250 word answer, and that is why unnecessary details. Here you will not get 500 pages of notes covering. Here entire environment would be covered in perhaps 70-80 topics, 70-80 pages. That's it. Okay. What are the key features of National Clean Air Program? Clean Air Program. देखो, एयर पोल्यूशन का जो फ्लैगशिप इनिशिएटिव है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का, दैट इज नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम, एंड दे हैव ऑलरेडी आस्क्ड इट ट्वाइस. Once they asked it in 2020, or then they had asked it in 2021 also. 2021 में जो वो WHO का एयर क्वालिटी गाइडलाइंस वाला क्वेश्चन था ना, उसका ही सेकंड पार्ट था कि नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम will help us in achieving this in what ways. So National Clean Air Program और जल शक्ति अभियान is our flagship initiative for water conservation. वो हमें पता होना चाहिए था. National Clean Air Program is our flagship initiative for air pollution, fighting air pollution in cities in India. वो भी हमें पता होना चाहिए, अच्छे से पता होना चाहिए. एंड नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम वाज सपोज्ड टू बी अ 5-year program, so it has now been extended till 2026. So we should also be able to analyze how effective has it been. What are the good things about NCAP? What are the bad things about NCAP in 5 years? What has it been able to achieve? आज की क्लास में, because today we'll deal with air related things, we will cover these aspects also. I'm sorry, पिछले ना 2-3 दिन में आप में से बहुत सारे लोगों के कॉल्स मैसेजेस मिस हुए होंगे. somehow what has we have come to realize this, when students come to old Rajendra Nagar, Karol Bagh for preparation, they don't know about LevelUp IAS. but जब तक वो प्री करते हैं तब तक उन्हें समझ में आ जाता है कि LevelUp IAS में पढ़ना है. और अचानक से इतने सारे मेंस के बाद, प्रीलिम्स के रिजल्ट्स के बाद, वी आर लाइक, आपके ऑफिस वाले रिसेप्शन पे भी कॉल्स वगैरह मिस हो रहे होंगे, बिकॉज we had not expected that kind of response. 3-4 लोग यहाँ पे, हमारे यहाँ पहले एक पर्सन होता था फ़ोन उठाने के लिए, भी 3-4 लोग बैठे हुए हैं फ़ोन उठाने के लिए, रिप्लाई करने के लिए. स्टिल एवरी डे hundreds of missed calls are हम 10 बजे तक कॉल कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद भी मिस कॉल्स बहुत सारे रह जा रहे हैं. तो इट्स नॉट लाइक वी आर बीइंग केयरलेस, वी हैड नॉट एक्सपेक्टेड द काइंड ऑफ रिस्पॉन्स दैट वी गॉट. ओके, तो सबके जितने भी मिस कॉल्स होंगे सबको कॉल वापस जाएगा, डू नॉट वरी. ये बिकॉज ऑन यूट्यूब सम ऑफ यू मे बी वरिड कि यार इस इंस्टीट्यूशन से रिप्लाई नहीं होता, ऐसा नहीं है. मैं भी पर्सनली सबके रिप्लाई करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, बट मंडे ट्यूसडे वेंसडे में कुछ भी नहीं पढ़ पाया. आई वॉज स्पीकिंग टू स्टूडेंट्स, आई वॉज टॉकिंग टू स्टूडेंट जिनका प्री हुआ है, जिनका प्री नहीं हुआ है सबसे. इस वजह से मैं थर्सडे को क्लास नहीं ले पाया, आपको ऑफ दिया ये बोल के कि रिविजन कर लेना. But Thursday I did not take class because before class I have to do all these things. I have to analyze all these things. I have to discuss all these things to help us understand हमें पढ़ना क्या है एग्जाम के लिए. And without this, just taking classes would not have made sense. Okay, तो जिसके भी मिस कॉल्स वगैरह हैं, गुस्सा मत होना कि they do not provide good service. Just एक दो दिन बाद दोबारा कॉल कर लेना. अभी आप देखेंगे हर कोई एंगेज्ड है. लाइक अभी भी फाउंडेशन, जब बच्चा ORN में आ रहा है ना, उसे जीएस फाउंडेशन में ये कौन सा इंस्टीट्यूशन है लेवल अप, दे आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड. एक दो साल बाद आएंगे. हाँ, तो मेंस तक पहुंच जाएंगे, तब तक उन्हें पता लग जाएगा कि व्हाट इज लेवल अप एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एफर्ट्स दैट वी पुट एंड दिल कम हियर. तो उस टाइम ना हमारे पास लोड बहुत ज्यादा हो जाता है, तो इसीलिए थोड़ी सी गड़बड़ हो गई है. ओके, लेट्स कम बैक टू दिस. व्हाट आर द की फीचर्स ऑफ नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम इनिशिएटेड बाय गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया? सिंपल की फीचर्स पूछें, कुछ नहीं. हम फीचर्स भी पढ़ेंगे, विल सी हाउ सक्सेसफुल इट हैज बीन, what are the problems that it is facing and how do we deal with that problem. We'll study, this will be NCAP today will be our most biggest topic. We'll study every aspect. यहाँ पे बस features पूछे हैं, but they may ask you other aspects also. No, we should be able to answer any of the question. Assess the impact of global warming on coral life. अब देखो global warming का impact on food security of tropical countries पूछ रहे हैं, global warming का impact वो in general पूछ रहे हैं, global warming का इंडिया पे क्या impact हो सकता है, global warming का impact कोरल लाइफ पे पूछ रहे हैं, क्या आप देखोगे मैंग्रोव्स पे क्या इंपैक्ट है. दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस हैव बीन आस्क्ड. तो आप यू वुड नोटिस समथिंग, यू हैव स्टडीड ऑल दीस थिंग्स एट द टाइम ऑफ प्रीलिम्स, बट देयर वी वर जस्ट स्टडीइंग इट इन अ फैक्चुअल बेसिस. यहाँ पे वी विल शॉर्टन इट फर्दर. 5 पॉइंट्स, ये अच्छी चीज, ये खराब चीज, दिस इज द वे फॉरवर्ड. इन दिस वे विल स्टडी दीस थिंग्स अगेन, डू नॉट वरी. ओके, नाउ वेयर वर वी? असेस द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ ग्लोबल वार्मिंग ऑन कोरल लाइफ सिस्टम विथ एग्जांपल्स. Discuss the causes of depletion of mangroves and explain their importance in maintaining coastal ecology. What is water stress? देखो water पे highest number of questions have been asked on water. Water conservation, groundwater, fresh water, water stress, dead zones. Dead zones में भी क्या है? ओशन के वाटर में pollutants चले गए, इसकी वजह से eutrophication and dead zones are occurring. तो water पे they are asking lots of questions. How and why does it differ regionally in India? What is water stress? And water stress is basically demand supply gap जो होगा, that is water stress. And how does it vary in India? How can mountain ecosystem be restored from negative impact of development initiative and tourism? Environmental impact assessment में this is something that we can understand कि कोई भी developmental project, how developmental projects are impacting Himalayan regions. We'll study this, and how those negative impact could be reversed. We will study that aspect also. Coastal sand mining, whether legal or illegal, poses one of the biggest threat to our environment. Again, environmental impact assessment का एक developmental project है. What is its impact? Analyze the impact of sand mining along the Indian coast, citing specific examples. Define the concept of carrying capacity of an ecosystem. Carrying capacity, another important topic. We will see. यहाँ पे in 2019 it may appear new, but if we had analyzed PYQs. 2013-14 में they have already asked this. They have already asked questions related to carrying capacity. So, define the concept of carrying capacity of ecosystem as relevant to an environment. Explain how understanding this concept is vital while planning for sustainable development of a region. So, when you are doing environmental impact assessment, when there you are planning for sustainable development, how carrying capacity, understanding the carrying capacity is crucial. Because beyond that, if you will pollute the environment, it will be harmful, it will not remain sustainable. What are the consequences of spreading of dead zones on marine ecosystem? Again, water pollution से related question आ गया. The ideal solution of depleting groundwater resource in India is water harvesting system. How can it be made effective in urban? वाटर कंजर्वेशन पे वाटर से रिलेटेड फिर क्वेश्चन आया, व्हाट आर द इम्पेडिमेंट्स ऑफ डिस्पोजिंग ह्यूज क्वांटिटीज ऑफ डिस्कार्डेड सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, another standard topic. How do we remove safely the toxic waste that have been accumulating in habitable environment? What is wetland? Wetland पे they have asked question recently, past में भी पूछा हुआ है. Explain the Ramsar concept of wise use. Do we all understand what is Ramsar concept of wise use? They will study it again. आप सबको पता है, जिन्होंने मेरे साथ prelims पढ़ा है, they understand it. But यहाँ पे short form में 150 word, 250 words में we will be able to understand what is wetland, what is meant by this concept, wise use concept, and cite 2 examples of Ramsar site. Recently जो उन्होंने पूछा था, cite a few examples. Here cite 2 examples, specifically 2 examples of Ramsar site. Easy one. How does biodiversity vary in India? क्या अभी पूछा? Did we just saw they had asked this question? इंडिया में biodiversity कैसे वेरी करता है? देखो दोबारा से. Past में they have asked this question. They have again repeated it. How is Biological Diversity Act 2002 helpful in conservation of flora and fauna? So national efforts में biodiversity conservation का the first thing, the most important thing that we study is Biological Diversity Act, and इसमें recently amendment भी हुआ है, so we will study it, we will analyze it. Then, in spite of adverse environmental impact, coal mining is still inevitable. So coastal mining, coal mining, they're asking this question. Environmental impact assessment के अंदर we will go for mining, its negative impact, coal mining, its negative impact, sand mining, its negative impact, stone mining, its negative impact. We will study all those things systematically so that we'll be prepared, we'll be very well prepared when these questions get asked in the examination. How does cryosphere affect the global climate? ये ना 2017 में this is a question that was asked. Some of the students did not understand what cryosphere was, but now in cryo means very cold, so the very cold part of the sphere, very cold part of the earth is our cryosphere, right? So how does it affect the global climate? How does cryosphere affect the global climate? Right now it is a net sink of CO2 and methane, but in future it may become a source अगर climate change होता रहा, methane release होता रहा, right? This was the core aim of this question. Not many years ago river linking was a concept, but it's becoming a reality. So river interlinking पे also in GS1 and GS3 in that period between 2013 to 17 they have asked 2-3 questions. So we will here study river interlinking, though वो थोड़ा sideline हो गया, बहुत news में नहीं रहता, but still we'll briefly in one page summarize it, good things about it, bad things about it, what has happened to it, so that when we'll enter examination hall, we'll enter with confidence कि we are very well prepared for our GS3 paper. Climate change is a global problem. How India will be affected by climate change? क्या इन्होंने अभी दोबारा पूछा था इसे? How India will be affected by global warming? Climate change is synonymous to global warming. How Himalayas and coastal states of India will be affected by climate change? Have they already asked this? अभी पूछा, इसके बाद भी पूछ लिया. Indicating what? Analysis of PYQ, preparing topics which have been asked there will be the most important preparation that you will do for mains examination. देखो इसमें से current के जो चीजें थी, अभी तक we have seen only 2-3 topics which were core current centric, and those topics were just 2-3 months old. Those were not 1 year old, right? Rehabilitation of human settlement is one of the important environmental impact which always attract controversy while planning major project. So when you do environmental impact assessment, one of the things that you do is how will you resettle people, rehabilitate people in case of this project, if this project is making some people lose their home. Then discuss the measures suggested for mitigation of this impact while proposing major development projects. So how rehabilitation should happen when you are planning a major development project is something that they asked. Then air pollution. Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata are the 3 mega cities of the country, but the air pollution is much more serious problem in Delhi. Today you will see that हम Delhi के air pollution को specially अलग से पढ़ रहे हैं. There's a statutory body which has been recently created, CAQM, specifically for Delhi air pollution. We are studying that body, where we have made a question on that body also. स्टबल बर्निंग पे हम एक स्पेशल क्वेश्चन बना रहे हैं। तो दिल्ली पोल्यूशन, उसके अराउंड 2-3 टॉपिक हम कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज दिस इज दिल्ली इज द मोस्ट पोल्यूटेड कैपिटल सिटी इन द वर्ल्ड। ओके, इंडिया इज वेल एंडोड विथ फ्रेश वाटर रिसोर्सेज, क्रिटिकली एग्जामिन व्हाई इट स्टिल सफर्स फ्रॉम वाटर स्कैरसिटी। क्या पूछा है इन्होंने पहले, बाद में भी पूछा है? यस। तो स्टैंडर्ड टॉपिक्स, not a lot of facts or not a lot of current updates, and no. Are you getting why I'm spending half an hour in making you go through all these questions? And no matter which exam do you prepare for, syllabus or PYQ will be your strongest tool, which will save you from random preparation. Prelims में I cannot do that. Prelims में in spite of studying so many species, उन्होंने elk पूछ लिया, US वाला species, या मेडागास्कर का कोई species पूछ लिया। Prelims में we cannot do that. But in mains examination, we can very easily see pattern that there are some core topics which gets asked again and again, again and again, again and again. And for these core topics, we should be able to write perfect answer. Examiner should be like, कहाँ किस बात पे नंबर काटो? There are some areas which we see are getting regularly asked, and that is why mains preparation is easier, but has to be more systematic, and you have to understand that you will have to do a lot of answer. Are we getting this? Okay. The states of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal and Uttarakhand are reaching the limits of their ecological carrying capacity. उन्होंने पूछा है बाद में भी, कैरिंग कैपेसिटी क्या होता है? ड्यू टू टूरिज्म क्रिटिकली इवैल्यूएट। तो हाउ हिमालयन रीजन्स आर गेटिंग इंपैक्टेड बाय टूरिज्म? दिस क्वेश्चन कुड हैव बीन आस्क्ड इन दैट मैनर। दीज आर हिमालयन स्टेट्स, और हाउ दे आर रीचिंग देयर इकोलॉजिकल कैरिंग कैपेसिटी एंड व्हाट विल बी इट्स इंपैक्ट। आपको दिख रहा है? क्वेश्चंस आर गेटिंग रिपीटेड। इफ समवन हैड डन PYQ बिफोर attempting the paper, a lot of questions जो बच्चों को ऐसे लगे यार ये क्या पूछा है, मुझे ज्यादा नहीं आता, या I'm prepared but I cannot write a perfect answer, ऐसा नहीं होता। PYQs would have helped you analyze, identify areas जिसके लिए ecological carrying capacity का एक बहुत अच्छा definition रहता है आपके पास। उसको ब्रीच करने पे क्या क्या implications हो सकते हैं, you would have had those examples. How do you prevent that? You would have had that, and preparation would have been very smooth, very systematic. Let's go to 2015. Discuss the Namami Gange and National Mission for Clean Ganga. Water pollution पढ़ेंगे, river pollution is something that we have to do, and one of the flagship mission for river pollution is Namami Gange. तो एक तो हम जनरल टॉपिक पढ़ेंगे, जैसे एयर पोल्यूशन में वन थिंग दैट विल स्टडी इज एयर पोल्यूशन सिचुएशन, एंड उसमें वन ऑफ द पॉइंट्स वुड बी कि गवर्नमेंट इनिशिएटिव्स में विल टॉक अबाउट NCAP, एंड देन टुडे वी हैव अ सेपरेट टॉपिक ऑन NCAP. In the same way, tomorrow when we'll study in the next class when we'll study river pollution, we'll do one topic on river pollution in general. उसमें एक लाइन होगा कि one of the initiatives that government has launched is Namami Gange, but then we'll have a separate topic on Namami Gange and analyzing Namami Gange, how successful it has been, what is wrong with it, what is good about it. We will deal with that. So discuss the Namami Gange and National Mission for Clean Ganga program and causes of mixed results from the previous scheme. देखो यहाँ पे Namami Gange was just launched, and that is why they are asking you what were the causes for mixed result of the previous scheme. But now when they'll ask Namami Gange, they'll ask you what are the causes of, what are the good things that Namami Gange has achieved, and what are some of the failures of Namami Gange. So Namami Gange का analysis is also very important, is also very crucial. What quantum leaps can help river Ganga better than incremental inputs? Like what is the way forward? यही पूछ रहे हैं, what is the way forward to ensure that river Ganga can be helped, river Ganga can be cleaned? क्या अभी river Ganga has been cleaned? No. Namami Gange को almost 10 years होने जा रहे हैं, river Ganga has not been cleaned. So you should be ready for your way forward on what more needs to be done to clean river Ganga. Bring out the relationship between sinking Himalayan glaciers and the symptoms of climate change in the Indian subcontinent. So Indian climate, how is climate change impacting Himalayan glacier? एक तो ये है, and how sinking Himalayan glacier is leading to some of the features of climate change. should the pursuit of carbon credit and clean development mechanism, again climate change के अंदर हम पढ़ते हैं ये सब, carbon credit, clean development mechanism set up under UNFCCC be maintained even though there has been a massive slide in the value of carbon credit. Please note the date 2014. 2015 में Paris Agreement finalize हुआ है. So there this debate was going on. Should carbon credit be the system of carbon credit, system of clean development mechanism? What was clean development mechanism? When a developed country implements a project in developing country, should these things be continued? Now they are not going to ask you this question. They'll ask you how now have these things been continued? So some kind of market mechanism has been continued, and what will happen to the past credit, वो सब भी has been done in COP 27. Those decisions were taken. So they may ask you what is the implication of those decisions. We will be covering those also. Discuss with respect to India's energy needs for economic growth. Environmental impact assessment are increasingly undertaken before project is cleared by government. Discuss the environmental impact of coal-fired thermal power plant located at coal pit. So basically, coal-fired thermal power plant के environment पे क्या impact होते हैं, air pollution पे, water pollution पे, vegetation पे, है ना, right? इस पे क्या क्या impact होंगे? Then because this coal-powered thermal power plant will be needing coal, we will also briefly mention in the end कि इसकी वजह से coal mining होगी. So negative impact of coal mining on environment is also one of the impacts of thermal power plant on environment, right? Then what are the consequences of illegal mining? Can you see this? Same thing being asked again and again, again and again, again and again. Means पढ़ना कितना आसान है, right? PYQ सारे prepare करो, means की तैयारी, और prepare करने का मतलब ये नहीं है बहुत सारा research करना. A good 150 word answer, a good 250 word answer is good enough. Enumerate national water policy of India. We will do this. The first thing, when we'll come to water issues, we'll start with water policy. Then we'll go to water stress, water pollution, उसमें ही river pollution, ocean pollution, वो सारी चीजें individually हम देखेंगे. So enumerate national water policy of India, taking river Ganges as an example. Discuss the strategies which may be adopted for river water pollution and control and management. River Ganga को एक example लेके explain कि how, what policies should be taken to clean river. इसके बाद this is 2013. उसके बाद नमामि गंगे आ गया. So they asked question on Namami Gange. Now they'll ask question on how successful has Namami Gange been, right? What are the legal provisions of management and handling of hazardous waste? Hazardous waste के लिए जो rules regulations हैं वो बताइए. तो municipal solid waste management में hazardous waste के लिए भी norms हैं. Then hazardous waste में you may also include let's say things like batteries and all. उसके लिए भी नए norms आ गए हैं. Briefly we should know all those things also. And एक ये 2012, it is before syllabus change. 2013 में syllabus change हो गया था. The syllabus that we have today is from 2013. Before syllabus change, in the context of growing demands for the ban of endosulfane in country, critically examine the issues involved. What in your view should be done in the matter? Should endosulfane be banned or not? अभी individual pollutant पे recently इस तरह के questions नहीं आए हैं तो science and tech. Okay, so I hope this 40 minutes of going through 40 questions have given you some insight in what do we have to study, how do we have to study, किन facts पे ध्यान देना है, किन facts पे ध्यान नहीं देना. Facts सारे देखेंगे, but there will be something that has happened in April, May, June, July, August. तो एकदम tips पे रखेंगे कि जैसे air quality guidelines पे पूछ लिया था उन्होंने, अभी कुछ पूछा मैं बताता हूँ. We'll write very good answers. Right? Are we all comfortable? सबने while analyzing these questions, did we all understand that the most important areas have to be covered? Not every, ये ना जो yearly compilations होते हैं current affairs magazines के, वो कुछ भी इधर उधर की चीजें boxes में बना के आपको दे देंगे और आप वो रटते रहते हो. Rather than focusing on core answer कि यार water stress, river pollution, नमामि गंगे, इस तरह के, और वहां पे बीच में थोड़े से स्कीम्स प्रोग्राम, जैसे अभी हम एयर पोल्यूशन की बात करेंगे, आई विल टॉक अबाउट सम रिपोर्ट्स व्हिच हैव बीन पब्लिश्ड रिसेंटली, बट दोस विल जस्ट बी एग्जांपल समवेयर, छोटा सा एग्जांपल रहेगा, उसके बारे में भर के बैठ के नहीं पढ़ना है. यूपीएससी हैज नेवर आस्क्ड दैट. व्हाई डू यू हैव टू नो 6 थिंग्स अबाउट अ रिपोर्ट? हैज अ सिंगल रिपोर्ट एवर बीन आस्क्ड इन द मेंस एग्जामिनेशन? नो. उसका जो मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन है वो आपके आंसर में डाल दीजिए, उसका जो मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है वो आपके आंसर में डाल दीजिए, जस्ट गुड इनफ. In prelims we study reports because ये report किसने publish किया, these kind of questions are asked, but in mains no. So I hope आप will need around 3 classes. So आज and Monday Tuesday, फिर Wednesday को I'll do disaster. So in these 4 classes you will see around, if we are lucky, 7-8 questions are going to come. 6 आपने 2023 में देखा, 6 questions have come from only environment and 2 questions came from disaster management. 8 questions have been asked from this area. When I say this, when I tell this to students who have just come to meet me, sir, आप 80 pages करेंगे हम environment पे, ROI है क्या इतना? जब उन्हें समझ में आएगा 8 questions आए हैं, they'll understand ROI है. All these questions which have been asked so far and all the current issues which are going on, at least in these 5-6 months, we should be ready with. बट कोई भी टॉपिक जो आप पढ़ रहे हो वो 2 पेज के बियॉन्ड नहीं जाना चाहिए. जनरली इट शुड स्टिक इन 1 पेज. जैसे आपके नोट्स में मोस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स विल बी इन 1 पेज, बट समटाइम्स सम थिंग्स वुड बी बिगर. देयर विल बी मोर एरियाज, देयर विल बी मोर एनालिसिस, दे मे गो टू 2 पेजेस. इन योर एंटायर मेंस प्रिपरेशन जीएस 1, 2, 3, 4 में कोई भी टॉपिक 2 पेजेस को क्रॉस नहीं करना चाहिए. इट शुड बी इन 1 पेज. समटाइम्स इट मे गो इनटू 2 पेजेस. दैट्स इट. Your preparation will be simpler, your preparation would be easier, you will not run behind useless things. Okay, हाँ, तो we are not writing 4 answers today in the beginning, but next class में be prepared for 8 answers. तो आपका इस बार Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I am taking classes. आपका Art and Culture will start on Thursday, Friday, है ना? आप you are supposed to start with Art and Culture on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. राइट. आई विल बी कंटिन्यूइंग विद एनवायरमेंट. एक बार एनवायरमेंट खत्म हो जाएगा तो वहां पे थर्सडे फ्राइडे को आर्ट एंड कल्चर हो. इज इट ओके? तो जो लोग, बिकॉज एवरीवन इज वेटिंग फॉर निखिल सर आर्ट एंड कल्चर करने के लिए, तो उस दिन ऐसे वो मत, मेरी शक्ल देख के एक्सप्रेशन मत दे देना ये कहाँ से आ गया. इवन आई वेट फॉर निखिल सर्स वीडियो सम टाइम. तो ही इज दैट काइंड ऑफ टीचर. तो मंडे, ट्यूसडे, वेंसडे मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँगा. विल बी कंटिन्यूइंग विद एनवायरमेंट एंड डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट, एंड देन निखिल सर विल कम फ्रॉम थर्सडे, फ्राइडे. इस वीक थोड़ा सा ये बदल दे रहे हैं. ओके, एंड टिल मंडे इवनिंग मैं कॉल्स मैसेजेस नहीं ले पा रहा हूँ. आई एम रियली सॉरी फॉर दैट. कोई बस नाराज मत होइए. आफ्टर दैट आई विल अगेन बी अवेलेबल, बट it became really difficult for me to answer everything, speak to everyone and study also. ये सब सारी काउंसलिंग आप लोगों को ऐसा लगेगा मेरे से बात नहीं किया, ये नहीं किया, पर पढ़ाई आपके लिए ही कर रहे हैं. पढ़ाई चाहे आप नेक्स्ट ईयर एग्जाम लिख रहे हो, चाहे इसलिए इस साल लिख रहे हो, आपके लिए ही ये सारी रिसर्च. आई हैव गॉन थ्रू ईच क्वेश्चन पेपर रादर देन जस्ट टेकिंग सम कंपाइलेशन ऑफ PYQ. आई वेंट थ्रू ईच क्वेश्चन पेपर टू सी दैट आई डोंट मेक अ मिस्टेक, आई डोंट मिस एनीथिंग. मैंने पूरे पिछले 12 सालों के क्वेश्चंस देखे हैं, उससे आई हैव एक्सट्रैक्टेड दिस. Now let's look at air pollution. We'll start with air pollution. Air pollution से ना बहुत 4 ही क्वेश्चंस पूछे गए हैं. We have seen water pollution से they have asked a lot of questions, but same question getting asked again and again. But from air pollution they have asked only 4 questions. वो we have already seen in the list, but briefly एक बार यहाँ पे दोबारा देख लेते हैं. In 2022 they asked about photochemical smog. In 2021 they asked about revised global air quality guidelines. जो WHO ने अपने एयर क्वालिटी गाइडलाइंस रिवाइज करी थी. दे आस्क्ड द क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू दैट, एंड देन दे आस्क्ड व्हाट चेंजेस इन इंडियाज NCAP आर रिक्वायर्ड टू अचीव दीज रिवाइज स्टैंडर्ड्स. इफ इंडिया हैज टू अचीव दीज रिवाइज स्टैंडर्ड्स, व्हाट आर द चेंजेस इन NCAP दैट वी नीड. तो नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम में वे फॉरवर्ड क्या होना चाहिए? दे हैड आस्क्ड दिस. लास्ट ईयर दे हैड आस्क्ड व्हाट आर द की फीचर ऑफ नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम. नेक्स्ट ईयर दे आस्क्ड व्हाट चेंजेस डू वी नीड इन NCAP to achieve the revised guideline. उससे पहले what are the key features of NCAP, and before that why Delhi is more problematic in terms of pollution when compared to Chennai or Mumbai. this was 4 क्वेश्चन पूछे गए हैं. right? We should be able to answer all these questions, plus कुछ जो नई चीजें चल रही हैं, we should be able to answer them also. Okay, so in next 2 hours I'll cover 7-8 major topics and then I'll give you the last 3-4 जो individual fringe areas हैं for self study. एक बार read कर लीजिए. Okay, let's start with question number, or let's start with topic 1, air pollution situation in India and its impact. Air pollution situation in, again coming back to हमें what do we have to think of? We have to think of from the perspective of introducing a question, right? जब आप मेंस के लिए पढ़ रहे हो तो हमने पढ़ा है एयर पोल्यूशन कैसे होता है. Here we have to think of how will you introduce. You can introduce by defining air pollution, fine, that's one way. But यहाँ पे ना, if you can introduce the air pollution situation in India, if you can introduce with some reports, some data talking about the poor condition of India when it comes to air pollution, तो एग्जामिनर को आप पहले लाइन से बता रहे हो this question is about air pollution situation in India and it's bad. Suppose question is कि what is the impact of air pollution in India. आप पहले बताओ air pollution situation is very bad in the country, है ना? तो यहाँ पे I'm using this World Air Quality Report जो IQ Air publish करता है. This World Air Quality Report focuses on which pollutant? PM 2.5. भूल गए prelims का सब. चलो अब इतना जरूरत नहीं है, we do not need to know that, but as per World Air Quality Report 2023, India is the 3rd most polluted country in the world. And out of the 10 cities which are most polluted in the world, 9 are found in India. Out of 10 cities which are the most polluted, 9 are found in India. क्या आपने will we be able to start like this? Now, this is one of the reports. Now, what would happen over the next 3 months is you'll be reading newspapers और आपको कुछ और भी मिल सकता है. देखो, if all of you will use the same introduction, it will be a problem, right? So this is just an example of, you can start with definition, you can start with some report as per World Air Quality Report by IQ Air. India is the 3rd most polluted country in the world, and in fact when it comes to cities, out of the 10 cities, 10 most polluted cities in the world, 9 are found in India. जो एक जो नहीं है वो भी इंडिया में ही ले लेंगे, अखंड भारत. लाहौर इज रैंक्ड 4. वो वैसे ही वो स्टेट उसका उनका हो चुका है, किसी भी दिन डिसेबल होके बोलेगा कि हमें इंडिया में ही रख लो. All those cities are here. Introduction. Will we be able to introduce our question properly? पक्का. एक होता है context देके. Context में you और context और background देके, जहाँ अभी recently कुछ चल रहा हो तो उसके बारे में background या context देके you could have introduced. Now, major sources of pollution in India includes things like transportation. Transportation, this is Delhi में transportation is one of the primary reason. Biomass burning for cooking. Now you will not understand it's कि biomass burning इतना बड़ा issue है, but which is the city as per this report which has the highest pollution? बेगूसराय. बेगूसराय एक ईस्टर्न बिहार में सिटी है, वहाँ इंडस्ट्री कुछ नहीं है, फिर भी it is the most polluted city in the world. Scientists from IIT Kanpur have said that most probably it is because of fuels burning for cooking, solid fuels, the cow dung cake and wood being burned for. And not only Begusarai was not the only city which was in the list. Top 15 में बिहार के और भी cities थे, top 20 में बिहार के और भी cities थे which have been put in this list. So what are the causes? Transportation, biomass burning for cooking, electricity generation. When most of our electricity comes from fossil fuels, so their coal is burned, their petrol is burned, construction, waste burning and agricultural burning. These are some of the reasons because of which India suffers from huge amount of pollution. I hope if the question is asked what are the main reasons for pollution in India, then you will be able to expand these points. यहाँ पे बस मैंने छोटे छोटे points दिए हैं. What are its impact? What is the impact of air pollution in the country? What is the impact of air pollution in the country? First, let's talk about health impact. We are talking about air pollution because we are all getting impacted by it. Now, we can talk about breathing difficulties, all those stuff, but if we can only write one line. For every point, we'll be able to write 1 or 2 lines. So if we are very well prepared, we'll be able to say that as per the Air Quality Life Index Report 2023, Indian cities mein an individual is losing 8 years. An individual's life is being shortened by 8 years because of air pollution. This is the health impact. In fact, 2016 mein Barack Obama had come to India in Republic Day, 26 January ko. We know October, November, December, January, these are very bad times for pollution in Delhi and around this region. There were lots of articles in global newspapers कि Barack Obama by spending 3 days in Delhi at this time, उनकी लाइफ में उनका लाइफ कितना शॉर्टन हो गया है. हाँ, these kind of articles were there. They were analyzing कि by spending 3 days in Delhi और हमारा कितना शॉर्टन हो रहा है को पूछ भी नहीं रहा है. हम यहीं जो जी रहे हैं. And they had estimated कि perhaps उनका लाइफ 6 घंटे से कम हो. वो जितना जीते उसके, तो that is the impact that so when we are talking about health impact as per this report, rather than randomly saying कि किसी का लाइफ 8 साल से कम हो गया है, as per World Air Quality Life Index report, Indian cities में an average person's life reduces by 8 years. There are various diseases like mental health issues, Alzheimer's, loss of vision. The women who are chronically exposed to these to air pollution are more likely to have underweight babies, preterm birth. Those kind of issues are there. But again, in exam, we may not be in a position to write all these things. So if we have to briefly write in 2 lines, ki health impact, reduction in life of an average citizen by 8 years, average citizen living in city by 8 years as per this report. Economic loss, we lose around 7% of our GDP. Our GDP is 300 lakh crore rupees, uska 7% will come out to be around 20 lakh crore rupees because of air pollution. And it's keeping in mind, this estimation is keeping in mind every aspect. When I'm falling sick, my performance is going down. When people are working outside, their performance is getting reduced because of pollution. They are also falling sick, they are facing problems. Then air pollution is negatively impacting the productivity of food crops also. So the outcome which reduces, the output which reduces. Keeping all those things in mind, it is estimated that air pollution is hampering our GDP by as much as 7. Environmental impact. Environmental impact, एक तो देखो, some of these pollutants themselves are greenhouse gases, तो वो global warming cause कर रहे हैं. Then these pollutants also, let's say, get settled on solar power panels, reducing the efficiency of solar power panels. That's also a negative environmental impact of this. Then air pollution may also cause acid rain. Nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, they are air pollutants. When we burn coal, petrol, etc., they are released, and acid rain may have impact on forest, crops, aquatic ecosystem, biodiversity in general. So there are negative environmental impact of air pollution also. Then there are other aspects like aesthetics of the city. Acha, Delhi mein, which is the best time in terms of air pollution to come to Delhi? Best time आने के लिए बोलूँगा, maximum में बुलाऊँगा तुम्हें मैं. Which is the best time to come to Delhi? August. जुलाई अगस्त बेस्ट टाइम होता है. और मैं इतना अनफॉर्चुनेट हूँ इसमें, ये जो जून जुलाई अगस्त जब बरसात का टाइम होता है ना, मैं मेंस की तैयारी करवा रहा होता हूँ. बाहर अच्छा मौसम चल रहा है एंड आई एम मेकिंग नोट्स. आप लोग तो 1 साल हो गए सेलेक्ट होके चले जाओगे. मैं हर साल यही कर रहा होता हूँ, सोचता हूँ कि अगले साल मैं बारिश एंजॉय करूँगा. ऐसा हो रहा होता है. तो आज मैं व्हेन आई वाज मेकिंग नोट्स फॉर एयर पोल्यूशन, I was looking at month wise, which is the month which is safest to come to Delhi in terms of air pollution. So it was August. But वहाँ पे भी WHO के जो standards हैं उससे ज़्यादा pollution है. तो वहाँ पे भी situation is bad. but still the best time to come to Delhi. Okay, anyways, but if you come to Delhi in winters, you will see that Delhi also loses its aesthetics. आप इंडिया गेट के सामने से गुजर रहे हो और सब कुछ ना हेज में गंदा दिख रहा है, धुंधला दिख रहा है. So another impact is hampering the aesthetic of the city, and finally ozone layer depletion may also occur. Some of the pollutants are ozone depleting in nature and may cause issues, may cause. So when we have to talk about the negative impact of air pollution, there are health issues, there are economic issues, there are environmental issues, there is tourism, beauty related issues, aesthetics of the city is getting affected, and finally some of the pollutants may also be ozone depleting in nature. Kuch nitrogen oxides are ozone depleting, we had studied that, है ना. Some other gases may be released which may be ozone depleting. जैसे ozone at ground level may create problem, वो photochemical smog बना रहा है. So these could be some issues, these could be some challenges. So when you will revise it, what will you think of? आप अपने दिमाग में सोचोगे कि if air pollution पे क्वेश्चन आता है, and if they ask a question on the impacts of air pollution, we'll quickly write down the 5 points. Which 5 points? Health, economy, environment, then 2 other things. In general क्या होता है cities पे? So economy में we could have covered, tourism would get affected, वो negative economic impact में है, but in aesthetics also is getting affected, and finally ozone layer depletion may also take place because of air. Right? अब ये 5 points decide कर लो, और maybe you may think of some other important point, write it here, but keep on revising these points again and again, again and again, again and again till your mains examination, so that in the examination hall you do not have to think for which impact will you write. दो line में we should be able to write 5 points very easily, very comfortably. You may change these 5 points, but आज ही decide कर लीजिए कि these are the points that I'm going to write. While reading newspaper, you may find something important someday. Come and add it here in this part of the notes and keep on revising it. Keep on revising. Are we getting it? Okay. Now, why are we not able to fight air pollution? अब हम बोल रहे हैं कि our economy is getting impacted by as much as 7% of the GDP. 300 lakh crore rupees की economy में 7% is 20 lakh crore rupees. That is the kind of loss that we are facing. Then why are we not able to fight it? Why are we not able to deal with the challenge? So one major issue is that our economic growth is built on fossil. Fossil fuel is one of the major reasons for pollution, and around 75% of our power generation comes from coal, oil, natural gas. 97% of our road transportation comes from oil, natural gas. So giving it up altogether is difficult. What are the reasons because of which we are not able to fight air pollution? One reason is our entire development is focused on or is based on this fossil fuel. Then India as a country is growing, population is growing, industries are more industrialization is happening, more urbanization is happening, and all this will lead to increased energy requirement. And where is most of our energy coming from? Fossil fuels. So energy is coming from fossil fuels. India is growing. Isme fighting pollution becomes somehow difficult. Then there are agricultural practices like stubble burning. We'll talk about stubble burning in somewhat more detail. Overuse of fertilizer, urea and all. Usse ammonia pollution. We'll talk about ammonia pollution. These are non-point sources. Non-point sources like non-point sources are those distributed sources which you cannot directly control, and thus are very difficult to control. You cannot control how much urea a farmer is putting in the soil. You cannot control each and every farmer. We cannot prevent that farmer from burning the stubble. This is an issue. This is a concern. Then in general, the problem of poor infrastructure and poor technology. जैसे private sector बोल रहा हूँ मैं. Public transport. Because situation of public transport is so bad, people who can afford their cars, they are like, car mein jayenge. And not only in terms of infrastructure, but also in terms of safety. Right? So infrastructure, poor infrastructure becomes a concern, because of which people are not using public transport, they are preferring vehicles and creating pollution. Then Poor technology is also an issue. जैसे thermal power plants. Thermal power plants are supposed to have a flue gas desulfurization technique where they are removing SO2 from the gas which is going out. In 2015, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has come up with a notification कि भाई ये करना है. They had to postpone this notification again and again. Why did they have to do it? They had to do it because most of the thermal power plants are government owned and they still have not been improved their technology to implement FGD or do flue gas desulfurization. Then solid fuel dependency for cooking in rural areas. Firewood or dung cake, it's not only leading to drudgery but it's also leading to pollution and having negative health impact. यहाँ पे you can put that कि as per World Air Quality Report, world का most polluted city is Begusrai and experts feel that pollution is primarily coming from solid fuel burning. Right? Reports को हम बीच बीच में mention कर रहे हैं, बिना वजह unnecessarily reports को पूरा रट के नहीं रखना है. And at last, lack of resources. Resources किसके पास? Agencies के पास, local bodies के पास. When local bodies do not have enough resources, what happens? They are not able to prevent burning of waste on the road. They are not able to remove dust properly. Dust pollution keeps on happening. They are not able to, if CPCB doesn't have enough inspectors, if State Pollution Control Board doesn't have enough inspectors, other industries will keep on polluting and no action would be taken against them. These are some of the reasons, these are some of the challenges, difficulties because of which we are not able to fight air pollution. Air pollution has a lot of negative impact, but due to these issues, we are not able to effectively deal with it, though we have taken some steps. For example, we'll study about National Clean Air Program. It is our flagship initiative to fight air pollution. We'll talk about renewable energy. A lot of we are emphasizing on renewable energy. Solar power panels promote kar rahe hain. We have moved to BS4, BS6 all over the country. We have moved to BS6 norms. In recent years, we have improved public transport system in most of the cities, most of the major cities now. Metros have started coming up. PM Ujjwala Yojana has been launched to fight the problem of solid fuels being used for cooking. Mission Life has been launched to bring behavioral changes in people ki aap public transport use karo, aap paidal chal lo, aap lights off kar do, so that electricity generation, fossil fuel, all these things would also contribute in our fight against pollution. And some things like promotion of nano urea, nano DAP are also going to reduce the nitrogen pollution which is being caused by overuse, excess of these fertilizers. So we have taken a number of steps, but still ये problem तो अभी भी है ना. In spite of all these steps, what's happening? India is the third most polluted city, the third most polluted country in the world. Delhi is the most polluted capital in the world. एक छोटा सा town बिहार का is the most polluted city in the, at least ऐसा होता ना, वहाँ industries होती, वहाँ के लोगों को काम मिल रहा होता. Sorry, एक ऑयल रिफाइनरी से पूरा सिटी पोल्यूट नहीं हो जाता. I agree, but मैं फिर से बता रहा हूँ, it's not an industrialized place. एक ऑयल रिफाइनरी, एक थर्मल पावर प्लांट doesn't become the reason for it being the most polluted city in the world. Just सोचो, will there be other cities in the world which will have multiple refineries, multiple thermal power plants? है ना, ऐसे समझेंगे. Okay, you were asking something. No. Road transport does not constitute 97%. Of the road transport, 97% comes from fossil fuel. कुछ electric vehicles हैं जो electricity, but 97% of the road transport is happening with the help of petrol, diesel, CNG. They are all what? They're fossil fuels. Okay, अच्छा ये doubt था. Okay, so I hope we understand the like when we'll get a question on air pollution, how will we introduce it? What are the causes of air pollution? What is its impact? Health impact, economic impact, environmental impact, city के beauty पे impact, and ozone layer depletion वाला impact. What are the reasons because of which we have not been able to control it? Some of the steps that we have taken, बट वी नीड टू टेक मोर स्टेप्स. व्हाट शुड बी द वे फॉरवर्ड? ये वे फॉरवर्ड आप फ्यूचर में हम बहुत सारी जगह पे यूज कर सकते हैं. व्हेनेवर अ क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू एयर पोल्यूशन कम्स, विल बी एबल टू टॉक अबाउट दिस. कुछ देर आर सम policy or legal initiatives that we can take. For example, effective implementation of NCAP. Now you will say कि sir effective implementation of NCAP कैसे करेंगे? If a question is about NCAP, we'll talk about this. Otherwise, NCAP के जो provisions हैं उसे effectively implement करना is one of the suggestions that we can give. Then phase out of existing coal, oil and gas. Phase out in a timely manner, because eventually we want to shift to renewable. These polluting things will have to be phased out. So closure of old coal-fired power plants can yield health benefits that exceed the value of electricity that generate. There are coal-fired power plants जो 40 साल 50 साल पुराने, उन्हें retrofit करना भी बहुत difficult है, and they are heavily polluting in nature. Phase out dates for diesel, petrol and gas cars. We're moving to electric vehicles. We can have a plan कि by this time we want to phase out all these vehicles, so that we have a plan कि in next 10 years and next 15 years दिल्ली में या नेक्स्ट 20 years में दिल्ली will only have electric vehicles. Transition to affordable and carbon neutral transport. That is, government has to focus more on public transport. And initiatives like जैसे females के लिए buses free कर देना are positive steps in this direction, because a lot of females now who could have afforded their own scooter or their own cars can also prefer कि चलो इतना ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कंफर्टेबल एसी बसेस में भी इज फ्री, दे विल चूज पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट. देन ट्रांजिशन टू रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी. these are certain steps that we'll have to take to directly deal with air pollution, but there are other aspects also. जैसे we have to deal with stubble burning. Stubble burning से deal करने के लिए, though we'll study the topic of stubble burning in a lot of detail, we'll deal with a lot of aspects related to stubble burning. But briefly, जैसे पूसा decomposer का use या फिर finding alternatives for farmers to sell their stubble at some economic benefit are certain things that we'll have to look at. Expand countries' air quality monitoring network. This is another challenge. See, what is happening is recent years में our air quality monitoring network has increased. अब बेगूसराय में ना बहुत सारा pollution बहुत पहले भी होता होगा, but no one was measuring the pollution level in बेगूसराय. But now it is improving, but even now the entire country has not been covered. Mostly cities are being covered. So in order to fight air pollution, first we have to identify कि वहाँ पे air pollution है, and for that we have to strengthen our air quality monitoring network. We have to strengthen our bodies, Central Pollution Control Board, State Pollution Control Board, with enough resources, enough manpower, that they'll be able to take action against the culprit, against people who are violating, against businesses, against industries who are violating these norms. We also need to revise our air quality guidelines to bring them in sync with WHO guidelines. जो WHO के पुराने वाले guidelines थे ना, our air quality standards were worse than that. Now newer guidelines are way more stringent, and our air quality standards are further worse. Getting it? So first we have to identify, we have to set higher targets. Only then will we be able to. Right now we have lower targets, we are not reaching it, but when we set higher targets, that is when we bring our air quality guidelines in sync with WHO system, it will be a better step. We'll be looking at better thing. तो हम कम भी achieve करेंगे, we'll be moving in the positive direction. And very important part, pollution has to become a mainstream issue. देखो elections हो रहे थे, elections में हिंदू मुस्लिम हो रहा था, मंगलसूत्र हो रहा था, रिजर्वेशन हो रहा था, इन सारी चीजों पे डिस्कशन हो रहा था. बट 7% of India's GDP, lakhs of death happen by air pollution, and people were not discussing air pollution. So if we have to fight air pollution, it has to become a mainstream issue. We have to talk about it. We have to demand cleaner air. We have to choose politicians who are asking for vote on this ground, and then we have to hold them accountable. तभी political will आएगा to fight air pollution. Otherwise, government, like the key officials, they'll move in their cars जहाँ पे air purifier लगाया हुआ है, they'll work in parliament जहाँ पे air purifier लगा हुआ है, they'll have bungalows जहाँ पे air purifier लगा हुआ है, and common people will. So we have to make it a mainstream issue. For this, we need awareness, we need participation of people. In fact, people's participation can be a major change. LA में 1960s में pollution situation was very bad. It was people who decided to bring some changes in their way of life and demand better air quality from government. ऐसे 1990s में 2000 में Mexico City has seen this change because of change in attitude of people. And this would happen when pollution becomes a mainstream, when votes are demanded on the ground of, bhai, we will ensure that in next 5 years there will be cleaner air. Else we are not realizing. एक आदमी 3 दिन यहाँ spend करके अपना life का 6 hours खत्म कर रहा है. I've been living in Delhi. I came here in 2015. तो अब मेरे को 10 साल हो जाएंगे. 3000 days. है ना? जीवन कितना कम हो गया? कितना? 6000 घंटे हो गए. लग गई मेरी तो ना. बस 10 साल और रह लूंगा, खत्म पूरा. कुछ भी कैलकुलेशन कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, वो थोड़ा एग्जैगरेट कर रहे होंगे, बट यस, नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट इज हैपनिंग. नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट पता है दूसरे तरीकों से भी होता है. मैं बताता हूँ. सितंबर के बाद आई विल बी बिट फ्री. तो मैं अक्टूबर से डिसाइड करूंगा चलो अब रोज वॉक करेंगे. पर पोल्यूशन लेवल इतना ज़्यादा होता है, पीपल से कि नहीं अभी वॉक करना कैन बी डेंजरस. देन जनवरी फरवरी में पोल्यूशन कम होगा, तब तक प्रीलिम्स वाला बैच आ जाएगा, फिर मेंस वाला बैच आ जाएगा. तो दिल्ली की हवा साफ होती है और मैं प्रीलिम्स और मेंस के लिए पढ़ा रहा होता हूँ. दिल्ली की हवा गंदी होती है तो मेरे पास थोड़ा सा टाइम रहता है, मैं बाहर नहीं जा पाता. तो इसलिए लाइफ कम हो रही है. इफ़ यू आर नॉट एक्सरसाइजिंग, इफ़ यू आर नॉट स्पेंडिंग 30 minutes 40 minutes every day on your health, your life expectancy is reducing. तो इसको ध्यान देना है. Anyways, I hope if a question comes on air pollution, from the definition, from the introduction till way forward, we have enough dimension. यहाँ पे देखो, because in the end we were talking about international examples. Here in conclusion also I've made a conclusion where I'm talking about China, कि China at one time faced air pollution problem which was worse than that of India. उन्होंने भी तो इंडस्ट्रियलाइज किया है ना अपने आप को, उनका भी पॉपुलेशन बूम आया था. They also faced this issue, but now by prioritizing zero emission transport, staggered use of internal combustion engine, promotion of electric vehicle, while continuing to grow economically, they were able to clean their air. It shows that economic development can happen along with cleaner air, and we should learn from these international examples to focus on that. We cannot keep on saying कि भाई देखो we are not able to fight it because हमारा energy यहाँ से आ रहा है. That was the case with almost all the country. At one time London was one of the most polluted places in the world. Beijing was one of the most polluted places in the world, but they have changed it in older times when technology was not as advanced. So with strong political will, with these examples, we can actually bring changes in our system so that we can live in cleaner places. और अब problem ये है ना कि like we may feel कि Delhi is very polluted, but अगर बेगूसराय और मुजफ्फरपुर और all these places become very polluted. अभी last year report said that बेगूसराय was most polluted. 2 साल पहले report said भिवाड़ी is most polluted. My hometown is भिवाड़ी. मैं दिल्ली की गंदी हवा से निकल के जाना भी चाहूँ, I'll go to भिवाड़ी, वहां पे और गंदी हवा, right? तो we'll have to fight air pollution in a very comprehensive manner. It's not only the cities, it's these smaller towns, the small town जहाँ पे एक रेलवे स्टेशन भी नहीं है, वहां भी pollution वो वर्ल्ड में नंबर 1 पे आ जाता है, right? तो अब देखो, when a question on air pollution come, will we all be able to write a good answer? Just go home and your revision, your preparation for air pollution should focus around. आप इसी में एक आधा पॉइंट ऐड कर लो. आप देखोगे in the end you may have some extra space also. If you want to write down something, write down. But आज से you have to do make between 2 PM to 5 PM you have to revise whatever you have done. Keep on revising these booklets so that बार बार इसे रिवाइज करते रहोगे. क्या होगा, by the time of examination you will be like हाँ पता है यार, ये मैंने 100 बार देख लिया अपने जीवन में. I know what I'll write in way forward when it comes to air pollution. Okay, let's go to National Clean Air Program. अच्छा नहीं, this coal-fired power plants and associated issues. Let's briefly discuss it. It was also in news and we have seen one of the PYQs. This was asked कि coal-fired power plant के क्या environmental impact होते हैं, ये पूछा भी था. और न्यूज में वो चल रहा है कि flue gas desulfurization is something that more than 90% of our power plants still do not have. Something which government had mandated way back in 2015 and 2 साल के अंदर सबको करना है. More than 90% of our power plants still do not have it. June 2023 में only 5% of India's coal-based thermal power plant capacity meets SO2 emission norms. This was one of the CSC reports. Okay, so let's start with coal-fired power plant and associated issues. आपको वही वाला PYQ है कि discuss the environmental impact of coal-fired power plant. Suppose that is the question. How will you answer that question? Environmental impact पूछा है. In introduction, we can talk about the significance of. We'll talk about the significance of coal. We will say that coal is the most important and abundant fossil fuel in India. It is responsible for production of, responsible for 55% of energy production in. Good enough? But coal-based thermal power plants have serious negative impact on. It will cause air pollution. It's emitting carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, particulate matter, mercury. Right? We know mercury pollution ka one of the biggest sources is what? Coal-based thermal power plants. Right? Then it also causes acid rain, NO2, SO2 in environment, and that acid rain has negative impact on acid, will have negative impact on building, negative impact on water bodies, negative impact on vegetation. क्या ये negative environmental impact है? Then improper management of fly ash. Coal based thermal power plant का एक major issue fly ash वाला भी है. Improper management of fly ash is leading to fly ash getting into the air, fly ash settling on ground, creating soil pollution, and fly ash getting into water bodies, causing water pollution. Then coal-based thermal power plants are also emitting CO2. CO2 is the most important greenhouse gas for us right now. It's responsible for climate change. So, negative environmental impact mein, it's also causing global warming. It's also causing climate change. Then coal-based thermal power plants, they use a lot of water. Why would they use a lot of water? One, for washing coal so that fly ash is reduced. Also for coolant, heat transfer, steam generation, rotation of turbine, excess water utilization becomes an issue. Then water pollution. A lot of because of coal mining, at the time of coal mining, coal pits etc., water seeps into the ground, groundwater mein jata hai. A lot of water flows through those coal mines and eventually goes into the river and carries with it a lot of heavy metals, creating heavy metal pollution also. And finally, there are other issues like land degradation, pollution during transportation. These are certain other issues, certain other environmental impact that coal-based thermal power plant cause. देखो, अब 5-6 अलग-अलग dimensions हो गए. When you will start writing answers, you will realize that you cannot write these many things. But still, while reading something, you find some important point, just add it here and keep on revising the keywords. Air pollution, acid rain. कीवर्ड क्या है? एयर पोल्यूशन. आप अपने आप बता दोगे कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड, नाइट्रोजन ऑक्साइड, सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड. यू डू नॉट हैव टू रीड दोस थिंग्स अगेन एंड अगेन. एयर पोल्यूशन, एसिड रेन, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग, वाटर एक्सट्रैक्शन, एक्सेस वाटर यूज, वाटर पोल्यूशन, एंड देन इश्यूज एसोसिएटेड विथ माइनिंग. माइनिंग की वजह से जो लैंड डिग्रेडेशन हो रहा है, माइनिंग की वजह से बायोडाइवर्सिटी लॉस हो रहा है, माइनिंग की वजह से जो पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, दोज एस्पेक्ट्स आर आल्सो देयर. But the question was about environmental impact, so we have revolved around environmental impact. Economic impact negative कैसे डालोगे? हाँ हाँ हाँ. अच्छा, इस saying देखो जो ना मोस्टली कोकिंग कोल वगैरह इंपोर्ट करते हैं, ये भी इंपोर्ट करते हैं. You can say कि हाँ import dependency भी है, that is one of the negative impact if other aspects are asked. हाँ, right, agreed. We are importing coal for our this thing, for our thermal power plant also. A lot of coal gets imported also. Generally वो coking coal होता है जो steel में use हो रहा है, but some coal is also imported for thermal power plant, so that may have negative impact in that sense. तो इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट हमारे फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स खत्म कर रहा है, उस तरह की चीजें भी बता सकते हैं, बट हियर वी वर फोकस्ड ऑन एनवायरमेंटल इम्पैक्ट बेस्ड ऑन द डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन एंड वी ओनली स्पोक अबाउट दैट. ओके, हाँ इनसे देखो, सवाल पूछने से पहले 75% क्या था, 55% क्या है, नहीं देखो 75% वो क्या था, 55% क्या. ओके, लेट्स कम बैक. अब कोल बेस्ड थर्मल पावर प्लांट्स के नेगेटिव हेल्थ impacts, oh sorry, negative environmental impact. Did we understand that? Will we be able to talk about systematically जो PYQ पूछा हुआ है उस PYQ का आप मॉडल आंसर सोचो. You are making your model answer. What we have said is we'll try to always focus on how will we answer a question, है ना. तो क्वेश्चन का इंट्रोडक्शन, कोल का सिग्निफिकेंस फॉर इंडियाज एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन, that was why do we need to use coal, its negative environmental impact, think of air pollution, acid rain, global warming, water extraction, water pollution, land degradation. काफी points हो गए, right? Now emission norms. अब emission norm, when we are talking about emission norm, one of the major pollutant that is coming from coal is sulfur dioxide, and Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change had notified emission norm for coal based power plant way back in December 2015, but in 2021 Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change divided the power plant on the basis of distance from polluted cities. Distance from, like if you are very close to polluted cities, आपको emission norms पहले fulfill करने पड़ेंगे, and if you are further from polluted cities, you can have some relaxation, and accordingly, this is category A, coal based power plants within 10 kilometers of NCR. NCR is a very polluted region. They have to meet, NCR or any of the city with million plus population, they have to meet their emission norms by December 2024. Early December 2022 था, further it has been relaxed to December 2024, which are situated 10 kilometers radius, the power plants which are situated within 10 kilometer radius of critically polluted area or non-attainment city, they have to achieve this by 31st December 2025, and category C, remaining power plants have to achieve their emission norms by 2026. So government has kept on, as we said, most of the power plants have not fulfilled the emission norms. So 2015 में government लेके आई थी. So every 2 years, 2-3 years, what government does is it extends the deadline. Even now, deadline has been extended to 2024, 25, 26 for the 3 category of power plant. A study by Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air has found that less than 8% of India's coal-based power plants have installed SO2 reduction, emission reduction technology recommended by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So why moving away from power plants may be difficult? Why it will be an issue? One, we have very large dependency. 75% of India's annual power is coming from it. Okay, 55% of the electricity is coming from it, but coal is used in other places also, other scenarios also, and 75% of things are coming from it. Phasing in renewable energy sources and phasing out conventional sources may bring instability in the grid. If you want to do this, कि आज ही सारे thermal power plant बंद कर दो and bring renewable energy sources, this will create instability because renewable energy sources are having intermittency in them. They may not be able to generate equal amount of electricity throughout the day, throughout the year. Then there is political economic risk also. A lot of there is coal based industry, there are a lot of people who are involved in those industries. They may get negatively impacted and government may face negative political consequences. That also becomes a factor. So how do we deal with these challenges? How do we deal with the problem of coal based thermal power plant? एक तो देखो हमने अभी पढ़ा था कि what steps do we need to take? The very old ones, reject them. Close very old power plant which can't be upgraded. Then implementing advanced pollution control techniques and strict regulation should be mandatory for all the running power plants, and the new power plants, if we allow, we may have to start some new power plants, thermal power plants only, coal based thermal power plants only. They should be only using the latest most advanced technologies which is least polluting in. So very old ones which cannot be upgraded, discard them. the ones which can be upgraded, उन्हें upgrade कर दो, but new power plants should all be latest technology, least polluting in nature. आज से 10 साल पुराना टेक्नोलॉजी वाला यूज करके भी we should not start a thermal power plant, coal based thermal power plant, unless it is using the most advanced technology. One thing, way forward में first point is phasing out thermal power plants उसमें. Then strengthen the environmental impact assessment norm. We will talk about EIA. EIA is one of the things that is mentioned in your syllabus. EIA क्या बोलता है? Whenever a new project starts, उसका environmental impact assessment होना. When the environmental impact assessment would happen, you would get to know its negative impact, what are the alternatives, and you will choose the best option. So if when a thermal power plant is being established, its EIA is done properly, will it reduce the negative impact of the thermal power plant? By suggesting alternative technologies, by suggesting alternative mechanism. So if we have to, in general, for any pollution, for any big project which is pollution causing, one of the points in our way forward could be strengthen India's environmental impact assessment mechanism, so that highly polluting projects could be ignored or could be reformed to make less polluting in nature. Then जनरल चीजें, एक तो हमने बोला कि कोल बेस्ड थर्मल पावर प्लांट्स को अच्छा बनाना है, खत्म, पुराने को खत्म करना है, नए को, लेटेस्ट को अच्छा बनाना है, ट्रांजिशन टू रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, promote energy efficiency, that's also important. We have to start consuming lesser electricity so that less coal would be burned. Carbon capture and storage, this is another thing that needs to get explored, because right now our dependency on coal is huge. We cannot just decide to shut down everything. We cannot quickly switch to renewable energy. So one solution that is there is carbon capture and storage, and that more R&D needs to happen on that. हम ये कार्बन कैप्चर एंड स्टोरेज के बारे में और डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे व्हेन वी कम टू क्लाइमेट चेंज वाला टॉपिक, वेरियस मैकेनिज्म्स ऑफ इट, व्हाट इज गुड अबाउट इट, व्हाट इज बैड अबाउट इट, इट्स एनालिसिस. बट इन दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन this will only be one line, nothing more than that. Okay, and finally, effective water management practices in coal mining and power generation also have to be kept in mind, because this is also becoming. यहाँ पे ना in way forward we could have also talked about कि coal mining activities should also be well regulated, so that they are not causing degradation, they are not causing other such challenges. Okay, so always when you revise this topic, please understand, remember you are writing an answer. आज से next 3 महीने के लिए whenever you are studying something, always keep what in mind? You have to write an answer, and उससे आपको समझ में आएगा आपको क्या पढ़ना चाहिए, क्या नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए. When you are reading something and you are not able to analyze a question, उस पे क्या क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, it will become useless. Many of our students have cleared forest service exam also, है ना, बहुत सारे बच्चों का फॉरेस्ट सर्विस भी क्वालिफाई हुआ है. तो उनके फॉरेस्ट सर्विस का जो जीके का पेपर आता है ना, उसमें a lot of science and technology, a lot of geography and environment also. जब आप ये पढ़ रहे हो, आपको वहां पे भी एडवांटेज. Are we getting this? So coal based thermal power plants intro, can we all think of a good intro? मन में सोचो, सोच सकते हो. नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट ऑन एनवायरमेंट, गवर्नमेंट नॉर्म्स, कब उसको गवर्नमेंट नॉर्म्स फुलफिल करने हैं, व्हाई आर वी नॉट एबल टू डू अवे विद कोल बेस्ड थर्मल पावर प्लांट्स, एंड व्हाट शुड बी द वे फॉरवर्ड. वे फॉरवर्ड में एक तो कोल बेस्ड थर्मल पावर प्लांट स्पेसिफिक थिंग्स, discarding the very old one, retrofitting the new ones, and the new additions that we are making, those should be on the latest technology. Environmental impact assessment norms should be strengthened so that the new projects are least polluting in nature. Then renewable पे जाना, public transport support करना, energy efficiency support करना, all those things are always there. Okay, so these steps can take us towards reducing the environmental challenges associated with coal-based thermal power plants, while facilitating a transition to a more suitable and cleaner energy. We are transitioning, we are talking about renewable energy, we are talking about that. So while we are using coal-based thermal power plant, उसमें cleaner तरीके से we'll be able to use it while we are transitioning to renewable energy world, renewable energy. Are we all comfortable with this? Okay. Now let's come to the flagship initiative, National Clean Air Program. एज आई टोल्ड यू, जैसे हम वाटर पोल्यूशन भी पढ़ेंगे, रिवर पोल्यूशन भी पढ़ेंगे, विल स्टडी वन टॉपिक ऑन रिवर पोल्यूशन, उसमें एक पॉइंट होगा नमामि गंगे. द वे in our air pollution, NCAP was just one of the points, one of the initiatives that government has launched, but on Namami Gange, because it's a flagship initiative, government bolo, UPSC can ask a question separately. In the same way, NCAP is our flagship air pollution fighting initiative, and UPSC may ask a question specifically on National Clean Air Program, and it has already done it. 2020 में did it, 2021 में did it. In 2020 they asked what are the key features. In 2021 they asked what changes should be made in NCAP so that we are able to meet WHO air quality guidelines. अब वो पूछेंगे इसका क्या इम्पैक्ट रहा है ना. तो नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम, इफ अ क्वेश्चन ऑन नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम कम्स, हाउ डू वी स्टार्ट इट. देखो अब स्टार्ट तो आप ऐसे भी कर सकते हो कि यार इन दी world, among the top 10 most polluted cities, India has 9 of them. It shows that our cities are facing huge air pollution problem, and to deal with this problem, government has come up with National Clean Air Program. एक तो ऐसा इंट्रो हो सकता है ना, या आप नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम को डिफाइन कर सकते हो. नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम इज द फ्लैगशिप इनिशिएटिव by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change to fight pollution. It was launched in 2019 with the goal of reducing PM 2.5 and PM 10 by at least 20% in 5 years with the year 2017 as base. ये सब अपने प्रीलिम्स के टाइम पढ़ा है, राइट. बाकी यहाँ लिखा भी है, डोंट वरी. if you don't remember it, if you are not able to recall it, it's written here. But my point is, you should not need to cram these things. आपको NCAP के बारे में इतना आना चाहिए कि NCAP, you should be someone जो कि हाँ मैं लिखता हूँ आंसर ऐसे लिखना है. National Clean Air Program is the flagship initiative of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, launched to clean air in Indian cities. Cities के लिए है, urban areas के लिए. In fact, it is being implemented in 132 cities in the country. Which 132 cities? Those cities which were not in compliance with WHO norms. यहाँ पे air quality was. So will we be able to write a good intro? ये बताइए, will we be able to write a good intro? NCAP is a flagship initiative of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change to fight air pollution. It was launched in January 2019 with an aim to reduce PM 10 and PM 2.5 by at least 20% in 5 years. But recently, its target has been changed to 40% reduction by 2026. 2024 तक हम 20% रिड्यूस नहीं कर पाए, कोई बात नहीं, डेडलाइन बढ़ा देते हैं. We'll say कि we'll reduce it by 40% by 2026. Are we getting it? क्या हम सब NCAP को डिफाइन कर पाएंगे? सब कर पाएंगे. If a question on NCAP would come, क्या will all of us be very comfortable in writing an introduction? अच्छा, I have a complaint about you people. Abhi there are around 120 students who are writing mains who are part of this program, target mains or mains masters. And last Sunday there were only 8 essays that I got. मैंने सिर्फ 8 essay evaluate किए हैं. 120 में से यार कम से कम 20-25% बच्चे तो लिख दो हैं. देखो, as I've told you, I'm sacrificing a lot to ensure that I evaluate your papers. आपको कहीं भी आपका एक टीचर बैठ के जो बिजी है, कुछ टीचर वेले हैं और जो सच में बिजी है वो एक दिन पूरा लगा के आपके पेपर इवैल्यूएट करके आपको फीडबैक, नहीं तो आपका पेपर आपसे कम क्वालिफाइड बच्चा इवैल्यूएट कर रहा होगा. जिनका प्री नहीं हुआ वो अभी इवैल्यूएटर बनेंगे. ये होता है. दिस इज व्हाट्स हैपनिंग इन दिस इंडस्ट्री. लिखो यार. व्हाई डिड यू नॉट राइट एन एसे? अदिति, मेंस लिख रहे हो बेटा? लिख रहे हो ना? एसे क्यों नहीं लिखा? अब लिखोगे. मेंस अगले साल लिखना पड़ेगा दोबारा, नहीं ना? आप लिख रहे हो मेंस? लिख रहे हो ना? आपका तो फॉरेस्ट भी हुआ है शायद. इससे अदिति तुम्हारा भी फॉरेस्ट हुआ है, तुम फॉरेस्ट दे भी सकती थी नहीं, और आपने इससे लिखा, आपका क्या नाम है, आप मेंस दे रहे हैं, इससे नहीं लिखा, ऐसे ही स्किप करते रहो जीवन। देखो एस्से में तो आपको कुछ ऐसा नहीं था ना सिलेबस कंप्लीट करना है, कुछ करना है, यू हैव टू पिक एन एस्से एंड स्टार्ट राइटिंग इट, यू हैव टू डू दैट, व्हाई डिड यू नॉट राइट इट? थोड़ा तो मुझे स्ट्रेस दो। मंडे को मुझे ऐसे ऑफिस से मैसेज आए कि सर 30 कॉपीज अपलोड हो गई हैं, मैं बोलूँ यार एक कॉपी को एलाइट करने में 1 घंटा लगा, 30 घंटे कहाँ से लाऊं मैं? स्ट्रेस आना चाहिए ना। मंडे को मुझे पता लग रहा है सर 6 कॉपीज आई हैं, शाम तक एक और आ गई है, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। स्टार्ट राइटिंग, राइटिंग इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट, राइटिंग इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट देन लर्निंग न्यू थिंग्स दिस एग्जाम। प्रतीक तुम मेंस लिख रहे हो, तुम भी लिख रहे हो, इससे कहाँ लिखे? आप नहीं लिख रहे हो, फिर भी ऐसे लिख लेते, राइट? प्लीज ऐसे लिखिए, ऐसे मत करिए। ऑल ऑफ यू शुड बी राइटिंग एसेज एवरी डे नहीं, एवरी वीक। देखो एवरी वीक प्लीज नोट, यू फॉलो दिस। संडे को 1 GS पेपर, 1 ऑप्शनल पेपर, एंड मंडे मॉर्निंग में एक स्टार्ट डूइंग इट। आपका इन नेक्स्ट 2 वीक्स योर GS1 वुड बी कंप्लीटेड मेंस मास्टर्स प्रोग्राम में। आई थिंक हिस्ट्री हो गया, अब हिस्ट्री के 3 लेक्चर बाकी हैं, ज्योग्राफी और सोसाइटी के। आपका पेपर 1 हो जाएगा, पेपर 1 का फुल पेपर भी लिख सकते हो। वैसे भी नेक्स्ट वीक व्हेन योर हिस्ट्री वुड बी डन इन आवर असेंट टेस्ट सीरीज, फर्स्ट टेस्ट इज ओनली ऑन हिस्ट्री, वो लिखना शुरू करो। ऑप्शनल का पेपर लिखना शुरू करो। ऐसे में तो कुछ करना ही नहीं था ना, लिखना शुरू करना था। स्टार्ट राइटिंग। आई ऑल्सो नोटिस दिस कि जब मैंने बोला हुआ है कि इन द फर्स्ट 40 मिनट्स विल राइट 4 आंसर, आधे बच्चे लेट आते हैं, 4 आंसर कौन लिखेगा? जो हंस भी रहे, लेट आते हैं और हंस भी रहे हैं। नहीं, डोंट डू दिस। देखो यू हैव कम टू द टॉप 2% पीपल out of 5 lakh people who appeared for examination, around 10,000 12,000 have cleared preliminary examination. अब इस टॉप 2% में से ना 0.2% में जाना है। लाइफ इज नॉट इजी अभी भी, एंड उसके लिए only 10% of the people would be putting the efforts which are needed to be in that top 10%. Out of 10, I think 13-14,000 people have cleared mains. 1,000-1,200 seats होंगी. Less than 10% people who are writing mains will eventually get selected, and less than 1% will actually become IAS officer. People who are writing mains, 14,000 लोग mains लिख रहे हैं ना, IAS officer कितने? 180 बन जाएंगे. Less than 2% of the people who are writing mains will become an IAS officer. तो लाइफ इजी नहीं हुआ है, कंपटीशन कम नहीं हुआ है। कीप राइटिंग, कीप राइटिंग। लास्ट ईयर जिन बच्चों को मैंने पागलों की तरह लिखते हुए देखा था ना, in spite of everything they have got select, खराब रैंक, अच्छी रैंक, और वो सिलेक्ट हुए हैं। जिन बच्चों को मैं ऐसे बोलता था ये पागल हो रखा है, ये इज राइटिंग एवरीथिंग, इंश्योरिंग एवरीथिंग, दे हैव गॉट सेलेक्ट। चाहे उन्हें कम आता था, ज़्यादा आता था। पीपल हु कंप्लीट देयर टेस्ट सीरीज, जीएस में जितने टेस्ट हैं, ऑप्शनल में जितने टेस्ट हैं, एसए में जितने टेस्ट हैं, तो पता है क्या होता है? जैसे मैंने आपको पहले ही बोला है, व्हेन यू डिसाइड कि यू हैव अ टेस्ट टुमारो, यू बिकम मोर इफेक्टिव। A day before you will revise more effectively than person who has decided कल टेस्ट मैं नहीं लिख रहा, कल टेस्ट अगले वीक लिखूंगा, अभी प्रिपेयर्ड नहीं हो, अभी मिर्जापुर देख ले। So the person who's writing test is studying more effectively will get selected. You will not get selected. सिंपल रूल है, जो ज्यादा मेहनत कर रहा है, जो ज्यादा सिस्टमैटिकली पढ़ रहा है, वो सिलेक्ट होगा। मैं तो कुछ इधर उधर की बात ही नहीं है। ज्यादा मेहनत करो, सिंसियरली पढ़ो, सिलेक्ट हो, राइट? तो आई वॉज वेरी अनहैप्पी। वो तो शाम को मैं एक मैसेज लिखता आप सबको, पर उस दिन रिजल्ट आ गया, तो मुझे वो मैसेज लिखने का टाइम नहीं मिला। तो आई वुड हैव रिटन अ मैसेज कि व्हेन आई गेव यू मंडे, यू शुड हैव यूज्ड द एंटायर मंडे फॉर इवैल्यूएशन, राइट? चलिए, लेट्स कम टू this part, National Clean Air Program. National Clean Air Program का we were able to write an introduction. It is flagship initiative by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change for cleaning the air in the non-attainment cities of India. Right? It originally targeted to reduce air pollution or PM 2.5 and PM 10 concentration by at least 20% till 2024, but now the target has been advanced to 40% by till 2026. इतना तो सब बता सकते हैं अपने इंट्रो में. Objectives. What are the things that it wants to do? अब देखो, one thing that it will do is fight pollution directly. So there are prevention, control and abatement measures. Pollution हो ना, pollution control किया जाए, pollution reduce किया जाए. Then monitoring network. When you're doing this, you also need a monitoring network to understand whether such में pollution has been reduced or not. And finally, public awareness. Enhancing public awareness regarding air pollution and capacity building. So objectives में one, it is the first point is talking about preventing, controlling and abating air pollution. Second point is talking about improving infrastructure for measurement, so that we'll be able to evaluate whether things are being done effectively or not. And third, public awareness and capacity building of various institutions. And you would see, who are all participating? So you will see that experts from industry are participating, various ministries, all the relevant ministries, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Ministry of Health. जो सोच सकते हो ना, जो pollution से related है directly, indirectly, they are all participating. The Niti Aayog and Central Pollution Control Board is also participating. What steps are being taken? So to understand what steps are being taken, again we do not have to cram this thing. What steps are being taken does not have to be crammed. Remember the objective. क्या था objective? Prevention, control, abatement. So what steps are being taken? Steps for prevention of pollution, control of pollution, abatement of pollution. उसमें बोलेंगे पेड़ लगाओ, उसमें बोलेंगे fossil fuel कम यूज करो, electric vehicle promote करो, public transport promote करो. And then more importantly, every city will have a clean air action plan. And to implement this clean air action plan, government has allocated 10,000 crore rupees. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has already allocated 10,000 crore. So first point is this. Then second point क्या था? Monitoring enhance करना. Second, we looked at 3 points about National Clean Air Program. वहाँ पे monitoring बढ़ाने की बात कर रहे थे. तो data collection, enhancing R&D and data collection. Studies related to air pollution should be done. Monitoring infrastructure has to be improved. A national emission database or national emission inventory would be created. This can happen only through monitoring. Then setting up various pollution related institutions at national level, state level, district level. Various institutions have been set up for implementing NCAP. You will see a national level apex committee, a steering committee under secretary, a national level apex committee under ministry, a steering committee under secretary, a project monitoring committee at the state level, and at city level you have city level review committee under municipal commissioner, and DM level committee at the district, in the district, are also to be constituted under National Clean Air Program. In fact, they have already been constituted. Then awareness generation and people's participation. This was also one of the objectives. So steps to deal with that. These are the things which are being done under it. Again, you do not have to remember these points. सोचो NCAP के objectives क्या हैं? NCAP के objectives हैं pollution control करना. Right? कैसे करोगे? Those are the things which are being done. Right? Monitoring improve करना. Monitoring improve करने से data collection, inventory and setting up creating infrastructure for monitoring, that will be done. Then establishing institutions for implementation and taking steps for spreading awareness among people so that they can participate in it, participate in fight against air pollution. क्योंकि आपको अगर public transport promote करना है तो you'll have to spread awareness among people. Got it? Now, positives, good things about NCAP. देखो, now they'll not ask you what are the key components of NCAP. They'll ask you to analyze NCAP. What are the good things that have happened? What are the problems that continue? So good things, you can start with, for the first time we have a targeted approach. what targeted approach? Bhai, we have to reduce CO2 emission by 20% and now 40%. We have a target. Till now, we had various initiatives. पेड़ लगाएंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे, but we never had a target कि we have to reduce PM 2.5 or PM 10 by this much. So we have a targeted approach for the first time. This is a comprehensive action plan. It's taking care of every aspect. Every aspect means it's taking care of planting of trees, it's taking care of e-vehicle, it's taking care of public transport, it's taking care of awareness, it's taking care of infrastructure, it's taking care of R&D, it's taking care of monitoring station, it's taking care of setting up of institution, it's taking care of every aspect which is needed to fight against air pollution. NCAP has also kept health impact studies on. So initially when NCAP was planned in its draft proposal, health impact studies was not something that it was prioritizing, but finally NCAP, when NCAP was starting to get implemented in the final plan, they also had health impact studies, and they are going in a collaborative manner where state, local bodies, central government, various ministries, Niti Aayog, all are working together, including citizens' participation by spreading awareness among them. All are working together to fight air pollution. But there are some limitations. One, NCAP doesn't have legal backing. This initiative doesn't have legal backing. In fact, देखो, अगर exam में limitations नहीं पूछे ना, तो in this manner, like drawback of NCAP, 5 point बस लिख देना. I told you on the very first day, what has to happen? What has to happen? Like when we will use figures, we'll use diagrams where we are dealing with the non-core part of the answer. Core part में कभी वो boxes बना के आगे नहीं जाना. Core part में properly underline करके एक point समझाना. Non-core part, something that was not asked. वो बताना है. Draw a circle. In that circle, write limitations of NCAP and एक arrow बना के 5 limitations keywords में बता दो. So lack of legal backing, NCAP is not backed by any law as such. Absence of compliance mechanism. What if NCAP you have been asked ki you will promote this, you will plant trees, you will reduce this emission. If that doesn't happen, who is holding you accountable? There's nothing like that. Data related implementation hurdles are also there because in many cities we do not even have properly collected data. So how do we decide what projects in what city, in what area have to be implemented? Urban rural disparity is another limitation. NCAP is primarily focused in urban areas, but recent studies shows that even in rural areas, because of use of solid fuel and all, pollution problem may be very high, and we have to emphasize, we should be emphasizing on those areas also if we want to fight pollution in the country. And finally, we have a target ki 20% or now 40% PM 2.5 and PM 10 reduction would be there, but we do not have city specific, sector specific targets. Like lack of sector wise target. So transportation sector में इतना reduction होना चाहिए to achieve that. If you really want to achieve 20%, 40%, like जैसे आपसे बोला जाता है कि in your mains examination you have to improve your marks by 100. So you decide कि 40 marks का improvement मैं GS में कर सकता हूँ, 30 marks का improvement मैं optional में कर सकता हूँ, 10 marks का improvement मैं essay में कर सकता हूँ. You make a plan like this. You have sectoral targets by which you want to achieve the final target. Those sectoral targets are missing under NCAP. These are some limitations in general. तो अगर आप ओवरऑल इम्पैक्ट देखना चाहते हो एनसीएपी का, तो cities have seen some improvement, but implementation has seen problems. For example, 10,000 crore rupees were allocated for city specific action plan. Do you remember that? उसमें से only 60% of the fund has been used, indicating कि under uses of fund is there because of red tapeism and everything. Projects are not being implemented in a timely manner. There is lack of standard operating procedure. In the absence of standard operating procedure, what's happening is, let's say some city sets up this some towers to clean air, to clean polluted air. Now those are not effective. So other cities are not doing anything. They वो सोच रहे हैं ये करने से कोई फायदा नहीं हो रहा है. There should be some standard operating procedure कि these are all the things that you will be doing. Eventually that may not result into 20% reduction, but right now cities are worried if we implement this and if it's not able to reduce CO2 emission by this much or NO2 emission by this much, PM 2.5 emission by this much. So because of this, what is happening? Officers are not taking steps to fight air pollution. This is creating issue, this is creating bottleneck here. Now, impact में only marginal improvement in air quality has happened. As per NCAP tracker released in January 2023, it should have been released in January 2024 also, but मैंने चेक किया अभी इन्होंने नया रिलीज नहीं किया है. तो NCAP tracker जो लेटेस्ट डेटा था 2023 का, it says that top polluted non-attainment cities in 2019 have marginally improved their PM 2.5 and PM 10 levels, but continue to breach the CPCB's standard. Marginally, जितना PM 2.5 पहले था, PM 10 पहले था, उससे थोड़ा improvement किया है, but they continue to breach the CPCB norm. 20% reduction or 40% reduction kind of thing has not happened. Delhi continues to be the most polluted city. Almost all the cities continue to breach the CPCB's norm. So while there are marginal improvements in PM 2.5 and PM 10 emissions, but overall situation continues to be bad. Under NCAP things, तो NCAP को almost 5 साल हो गए अब. It started when did it start? 2019, January 2019. It's been more than 5 years. At least 2024 का target of 20% reduction should have happened. In 2023, Delhi had more PM 2.5 than what it had in 2022. तो जो सबसे important city है, आपके लिए flagship city हो सकती है to show your fight against air pollution, their improvement isn't taking place. Marginal improvement overall, but no city as such is reaching that level. कुछ cities है जैसे श्रीनगर में situation has improved and those scenarios are there, but not overall. Okay, so what is the way forward? अब कुछ basic चीजें हैं जैसे there are some limitations we discussed of NCAP. Say NCAP was not backed by law. We can give it legal backing so that not implementing it can also be illegal. People are hesitant and bureaucracy is hesitant in implementing it. Improved infrastructure for monitoring, more funds for research against air pollution, and leveraging partnership with other countries, those countries which have in the past have been able to clean their air. This partnership can help us get the technology which will help us fight the air pollution here. Then utilize the cooperative federalisms. Basically implementation at state level has been laggard. They are the ones who have been like ये project implement करते हैं नहीं करते हैं. Bureaucracy has created problems at the state level. It's because center and states have their tensions. So we need to bring state on board to cooperative federalism so that both center and state are working together to solve this crucial problem. Then we also need to engage with vulnerable communities. There are tribals, there are women who in the past have worked in a sustainable manner. For example, you would see community-based solution to combat air pollution could be crucial. यहाँ पे community drive for afforestation, self-help groups, women's participation की बात कर रहे थे, self-help groups that spread awareness among their members and strengthen capacities of rural communities to adopt cleaner fuels. These are certain things that we should keep in mind and make them participate, make these vulnerable groups participate in our fight against air pollution. Another very important thing that we have to focus on if we really want to fight air pollution is participation of private players. देखो private players pollution में बहुत बड़ा role play करते हैं, but their contribution in fight against air pollution is lesser. तो way forward में हमारा vulnerable groups का participation, women का, tribal का participation तो होगा ही, but we should also have how private players should be contributing. So one method is an investment fund whose focus is on green projects should be created and private players can start participating there. But there are other ways in which they can contribute. For example, by developing new technologies to fight air pollution. For example, Swedish company hai IKEA. It is using rice straw as raw material to make furniture. This rice straw can be नॉट बर्न्ड एंड स्टबल बर्निंग वाला प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट नहीं होगा इफ दिस काइंड ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजीज, मोर टेक्नोलॉजीज कैन बी डेवलप्ड बाय प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स, और CSR स्पेंडिंग कैन गो टुवर्ड्स फाइट अगेंस्ट एयर पोल्यूशन. एक कंपनी है Cummins India, it has an initiative creating oxygen hub where they planted around 35,000 trees with the help of several NGOs and Maharashtra Forest Department. This is another example ki how private players can increase their contribution. Then in general their business operation, their supply chain could be aligned in greener manner, less polluting manner, and they can also play a role in awareness. तो देखो वे फॉरवर्ड में ना आपको एक यू मे गेट अ क्वेश्चन लाइक दिस कि हाउ कैन इंडियाज प्राइवेट सेक्टर पार्टिसिपेट इन फाइट अगेंस्ट एयर पोल्यूशन. तो वहां पे आपको ये 5 पॉइंट्स लिखे. तो आई टोल्ड यू some topics, in some topics we may go into 2 pages because that topic may be covering multiple dimensions. कि प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स कैसे कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा उसकी भी बात कर रहे हैं, एनसीएपी में इन जनरल क्या प्रॉब्लम उसकी बात कर रहे हैं, और एनसीएपी में वो वन ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम इज प्राइवेट सेक्टर इज नॉट पार्टिसिपेटिंग एज मच. इन वे फॉरवर्ड वी आर मेंशनिंग कि वी हैव टू इंक्रीज द पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स, वी हैव टू इंक्रीज द पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ वल्नरेबल सेक्शन. इन जनरल गवर्नमेंट को क्या क्या करना चाहिए वो तो हमने फर्स्ट पॉइंट में ही बता दिया था. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, legal backing, these things we had mentioned in the first point. Are we comfortable here? Okay, let's go to Delhi's air pollution. Sagar is saying, sir, mental blockade while writing essays. शुरू करने में ही इशू है. I know, बाकी लिखते जाएंगे. शुरू कब? मेंस के बाद कर लो, अगले मीन्स तक लिखते जाओगे. देखो आगे ना आपके जीएस के और ऑप्शनल के सारे टेस्ट आने वाले हैं, एंड जीएस और ऑप्शनल में ना आंसर कैसे लिखना है. जैसे इन दिस क्लास ओनली वी डिस्कस्ड कि इंट्रो कैसा होना चाहिए, मेन बॉडी कैसी होनी चाहिए, कंक्लूजन कैसा होना चाहिए. तो यू वोंट बी फेसिंग अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम इन राइटिंग जीएस आंसर एंड ऑप्शनल आंसर, बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू एस्से यू हैव टू हैव अ सिस्टमैटिक प्लान. और वो आपका प्लान सही है या नहीं, that can be decided if it can be decided earlier because you have started writing earlier, you will be able to do very well in the essays. Else आप वो आखिरी में डिसाइड करोगे, मैं उसमें कुछ चेंज करने को बोलूंगा, सब हॉच पॉच हो जाएगा, you will end up ruining your essay. That should not happen. Are we getting it? Let's come to Delhi's air pollution problem. अब देखो Delhi's air pollution problem में introduction of our answer. एक तो है एज पर कौन सा है IQ एयर का कौन सा रिपोर्ट है, वर्ल्ड एयर क्वालिटी रिपोर्ट. दिल्ली इज द वर्ल्ड्स मोस्ट पोल्यूटेड कैपिटल सिटी, नॉट मोस्ट पोल्यूटेड सिटी. मोस्ट पोल्यूटेड सिटी इज बेगूसराय, मोस्ट पोल्यूटेड सिटी इज बेगूसराय, राइट. तो मोस्ट पोल्यूटेड कैपिटल सिटी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड इज दिल्ली. आपसे पूछा जाए कि व्हाई डज दिल्ली फेस एयर पोल्यूशन प्रॉब्लम सो मच, तो इंट्रोड्यूस करो पहले बताते हुए कि हाँ भाई प्रॉब्लम तो फेस कर रहा है. दिल्ली इज द मोस्ट पोल्यूटेड कैपिटल सिटी इन द वर्ल्ड एज पर वर्ल्ड एयर क्वालिटी रिपोर्ट ऑफ IQ. फॉलोइंग आर द मेन रीजंस. एक सिंपल इंट्रो ये हो सकता है. दूसरा इंट्रो, एक तो ये इंट्रो हो गया. दिल्ली में एयर क्वालिटी का जो प्रॉब्लम होता है दैट प्राइमरली बिकम्स अ ह्यूज इशू फ्रॉम अक्टूबर, है ना. जब सर्दियां आनी शुरू, when winters come, when the wind direction change and when stubble burning starts, and unfortunately दिवाली का फेस्टिवल उसी टाइम हो जाता है, तो कुछ लोग दिवाली को ब्लेम करने लगते हैं, राइट. दिवाली का फेस्टिवल मार्च अप्रैल में हो जाता तो दिवाली को ब्लेम नहीं करते, बट दिवाली ऑल्सो एड्स टू सम पोल्यूशन देयर, इट बिकम्स अ कंसर्न. तो वन ऑफ योर इंट्रोडक्शन, देखो फिर से अगेन वी आर ट्राइंग टू रिमेन इन एग्जाम सेंट्रिक मैनर, तो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इंट्रोडक्शन कैसे होगा. एक तो इंट्रोडक्शन है वर्ल्ड्स मोस्ट पोल्यूटेड कैपिटल सिटी इज दिल्ली. दूसरा इंट्रोडक्शन हो सकता है कि एवरी ईयर फ्रॉम अक्टूबर एंड नवंबर दिल्ली's एयर क्वालिटी डिटोरेट्स एंड द सिटी और द रीजन बिकम्स अ गैस चेन. फॉलोइंग आर द मेजर रीजन. समझ गए. क्वेश्चन है कि दिल्ली ये प्रॉब्लम फेस क्यों कर रहा है, बट इंट्रोडक्शन यू कैन गिव सम कॉन्टेक्स्ट in which you are introducing it. You can start with some report, some data, in which you are introducing it, और कुछ समझ में नहीं आता तो एयर पोल्यूशन क्या है डिफाइन करो. That's the most basic way of introducing your answer, right? Air pollution refers to introduction of harmful constituents in the air which would have harmful constituents in the air which would have negative impact on human and environmental health. These constituents include particulate matter 2.5, particulate matter 10, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide. एक इंट्रोडक्शन का ये तरीका है. दिस इज ऑल्सो नॉट बैड, वेरी बेसिक, वेरी सिंपल, बट दिस इज ऑल्सो फाइन, नो प्रॉब्लम इन इट. देखो 3 इंट्रोडक्शन लिखने सीखे हमने. विल वी बी एबल टू राइट एन इंट्रोडक्शन? पक्का. इन नेक्स्ट क्लास आई एम गिविंग यू अ क्वेश्चन ऑन एयर पोल्यूशन ऑल्सो. अब किसी एक दिन मैं आपको बोल दूंगा सबमिट कर दो सब लिख के, और जिस जिस बच्चे ने मेरे को क्लास में वो आंसर सबमिट किए होंगे सिर्फ उनके ही पेपर इवेलुएट करूंगा मैं, ध्यान रखना. बी रेडी, आई वांट ऑल ऑफ यू टू बी राइटिंग इन क्लासरूम इन 70 क्लासेस 280 आंसर्स यू शुड हैव रिटन. देन हमारे 11-12 टेस्ट हैं जीएस में, असेंट टेस्ट सीरीज में 240, 220, 240 टेस्ट वहां पे. टोटल 500 आंसर्स यू शुड बी राइटिंग ओनली फॉर जीएस. देन एटलीस्ट 10 essays एवरी संडे, 1 essay, 20 essays, 10 essay पेपर, 20 essays, एंड 8 से 10 पेपर ऑफ ऑप्शनल, other than the answer writing that you are doing in classes. You also be doing that. So when you do all this, तब आप जाते हो closer to. Okay, anyways, Delhi's air pollution problem. 3 ways of introducing it. Definition, context, data, context and data. तीनों क्या, can we write an introduction in all 3 ways comfortably? Okay. Now ये तो हो गया what are the causes. और यहाँ पे भी we have talking about that. As per IQAir's World Air Quality Report in 2023, Delhi continues to be the worst polluted capital city in the world. Not only this, its air quality has worsened in 2023 when compared to 2000. AP में हम improve करना चाहते हैं but its air quality is worsening. That's one way in which we can introduce. दूसरा है Delhi's air quality dips drastically every year with the arrival of harvest season during October-November. Though government generally blames the stubble burning in the neighboring state as the key issue, but the air pollution in Delhi is a complex phenomena that is dependent on variety of factors. The factors are main body. यहाँ से शुरू करें. Got it? 2 introductions. Now you will not be able to write both these things in the same introduction. Please note it. ना? These are like 70-80 words. या तो ये लिख पाओगे या ये लिख पाओगे, दोनों में से कोई एक ही आपका इंट्रोडक्शन, राइट? क्लियरली सब लोग अच्छा इंट्रोडक्शन लिखेंगे. नाउ कम टू फैक्टर्स व्हिच आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर हाई पोल्यूशन इन. देखो पहला तो पोल्यूटेंट्स. व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट पोल्यूटेंट्स व्हिच आर क्रिएटिंग प्रॉब्लम्स, राइट? वन मेजर रीजन फॉर high pollution level in Delhi is dust. If Delhi, if the capital city was in Bihar, वहां पे डस्ट इतना नहीं है, वहां पे ग्रीनरी ज्यादा है, बट जस्ट बिसाइड्स अ डेजर्ट रीजन, राजस्थान, हरियाणा, वो भी थोड़े ड्राई रीजन है, वहां से अ लॉट ऑफ डस्ट कम्स टू Delhi in general will have higher pollution level because of this. So dust is the biggest cause of pollution during winters. Dry cold weather leads to dust being easily available in the entire region. Those places जहाँ पे घास से covered है जमीन, there you will not find a lot of dust. Are we getting it? One. दूसरा, vehicular pollution. Vehicular pollution is the second biggest cause of pollution in winters. According to a study by IIT Kanpur, around 20% of PM 2.5 during winters is the result of vehicular. Third, stubble burning. Stubble burning is not the primary reason, but it's also a major cause. At the time of Rabi harvest, around 25% of PM in Delhi may be due to stubble burning. But please note, अगर stubble burning was the major cause, then January में pollution नहीं हो रहा होता इतना. But even in January, February, pollution levels remain very high because it is not the primary cause. At that time, for those 15-20 days, it becomes unbearable. तो फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन माई लाइफ पोल्यूशन जो मैंने इम्पैक्ट देखा था अपने ऊपर वॉज इन 2016। 2016 में मैं ORN में वॉक कर रहा था और दिवाली के 2-3 दिन बाद आई केम बैक इन ORN एंड आई वाज वॉकिंग विद अ फ्रेंड और मेरी आंखों से आंसू गिरने लगे, नॉट इमोशनल वाले, जलने की वजह से। देयर वाज सो मच ऑफ पोल्यूशन इन दिल्ली। तो आई हैड नेवर ऑब्जर्व्ड इट डायरेक्टली कि इतना इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है। यू वुड फेस समथिंग लाइक दैट right at the time of harvesting or just after Diwali. Okay, so stubble burning is important cause, and then other aspects: industries, thermal power plants, burning of waste during winters, pollution from firecrackers. These are some of the causes. So input pollutants are pretty high in Delhi. देखो, stubble burning happens in Punjab, but the pollution level is not very high there because there the base level is very low. So stubble burning will add to some pollution, fine. But Delhi में already a lot of dust, a lot of vehicular pollution, all those things have already created a lot of problem, and over that what happens? Pollution because of stubble burning. So input pollutants are pretty high, one of the reasons. Then there are meteorological factors. What are meteorological factors? Monsoon के बाद the wind direction changes. अभी तक wind in Delhi was coming from eastern sides, northeastern sides. Now the wind would start coming from western. एंड वेस्ट साइड से, जब पंजाब से, राजस्थान से, थोड़ा उधर पाकिस्तान के डेजर्ट रीजन से विंड वुड कम, इट विल ब्रिंग अ लॉट ऑफ, तो विंड डायरेक्शन चेंज एट दिस टाइम इन अक्टूबर नवंबर बिकम्स अ रीजन फॉर हाई लेवल ऑफ पोल्यूशन इन इनपुट पोल्यूटेंट्स हमने समझा, मीटरोलॉजिकल फैक्टर में दिस इज अ फैक्टर। देन डिप इन टेम्परेचर, व्हेन टेम्परेचर डिप्स, व्हेन टेम्परेचर इज हाई, ऊपर टेम्परेचर थोड़ा कम रहेगा, तो क्लीनर एयर फ्रॉम अप वुड कम हियर एंड दिस वार्मर एयर वुड मूव अप। बट व्हेन टेम्परेचर डिप्स, व्हेन द ग्राउंड इज वेरी कोल्ड, द हेवियर polluted air, it will be heavier, it will be colder, it will be heavier, it will remain near the ground. So this temperature dip becomes a problem. Then low wind speed in winters. In summers, during monsoons, wind speed would be very high and the polluted, just imagine, let's say इस room में polluted air भरा हुआ है and high wind, heavy wind is blowing. Will all that polluted air disperse? But let's say this room is full of polluted air and no wind is blowing. Will all this pollution remain concentrated here? So low wind speed in winters also become a reason for high level of pollution remaining concentrated in Delhi. Vehicular pollution, all those pollution can be very high in summers also, but high temperature and high wind speed takes away that pollutant. Those pollutants either go up or they get dispersed in the entire geographical region. Then there are some other factors. देखो, these factors may be applicable in other cities also, जैसे vehicular pollution or waste burning. But when compared to Mumbai or Kolkata or Chennai, let's say, 4 major metro cities की बात करते हैं, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, those are coastal cities. And the advantage of coastal city is, on one side of the city, कोई रह नहीं रहा है, there is no pollution causing situation. If I go to Chennai, this side may be polluting, but this side will not be polluting. But when you come to Delhi, this side is also polluting, this side is also polluting. Go to south of Delhi, Gurgaon, थोड़ा और साउथ में जाओ, भिवाड़ी, most polluted city. Right? Go west of Delhi, Bahadurgarh, industrialized area. Go east of Delhi, go Noida or Ghaziabad and all polluted places. Go north of Delhi, Sonipat and all, a lot of industries there also. But in Chennai or in Mumbai, here in Kolkata, what happens? One side is not polluting. Moreover, sea breeze would be there. It will take away pollutants. Land breeze, sea breeze would ensure that cleaner air is coming, polluted air is going away. and that's why Delhi faces slightly more challenge than rest of the city. यहाँ पे भी vehicular pollution, all those things would be there, but Delhi, these cities do not face very cold conditions. Coastal cities hai. These cities have are not surrounded completely by polluting environment. They on one side they have this. These cities are not surrounded by areas where stubble burning takes. For all these reasons, Delhi ends up becoming very vulnerable during. This was the question. This was the question that was asked. Other cities are also very other cities also demand a lot of other things, but other cities also consume a lot of electricity. Other cities are also using a lot of vehicles. But why do Delhi face so much problem? These are some of the reasons because of which Delhi faces so much problem. So input pollutants, Delhi में dust and सारी चीजें होना, geographical condition becomes some of the factor. Steps which have been taken. अब देखो दिल्ली में एयर पोल्यूशन इज नॉट समथिंग न्यू. आपने यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन शुरू किया और दिल्ली में पोल्यूशन बढ़ गया. इवन व्हेन वी वर नॉट बॉर्न 1980s में भी दिल्ली में होंगे, हमारे पेरेंट्स जब आते होंगे, दे वुड हैव फेस्ड अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम. आपको ये लड़का याद है मार्च में भाग के शादी करने वाला था, मैपिंग वाली क्लास में याद है? जब भी क्लास में आता है इसकी शादी होने वाली होती है. अब कब है भाई? बताओ बताओ बता दो. शर्मा क्यों रहे हो? बोल तो रहा है सर 2-3 दिन में भाग के करने वाले हैं हम. अगर ये 2-3 दिन बाद क्लास में नहीं दिखेगा तो भाग गया है? बहुत शर्मा रहा है. ऐसे शर्माता नहीं है, ये लोगों को धमका देता है, ज्यादा बोल रहा है. मैं पीछे खड़ा हूं वहां पे आके, ये सबको धमका रहा होता है. तुम अच्छा शर्मा क्यों रही हो? बताओ. शादी तो कर रहे हो है ना? कब कर रहे हो? शर्मा गया फिर. हाँ शादी कर तो रहा हो, कब कर रहे हो? डेट बता दो यार. अरे भाग के करनी है कोई ना. इसका नाम नहीं बताएगा, पता लगे इसे रोक लिया, इसे उठवा लिया किसी ने. उठवाने तो नहीं देंगे, चिंता मत करो. अपना लाइव लोकेशन डाल के रखना, उठवाने नहीं देंगे. चलिए तो कहाँ थे हम? उसकी शादी पे थे. क्या करा तुमने? ये ट्रिप चलाइए. और प्लान्स क्या है तुम्हारे? तुम शर्मा क्यों रहे हो भाई इतना? चलिए कहाँ थे हम? हाँ तो इवन इन 1980s Delhi used to face a lot of problem. हम लोग पैदा नहीं हुए थे. 1990s Delhi was very very polluted. बहुत सारे ऑर्डर सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आए, बहुत सारे स्टेप्स गवर्नमेंट ने लिए टू रिड्यूस पोल्यूशन इन Delhi. Becomes a gas chamber right now in spite of all the efforts. But if those steps were not taken, Delhi में बस गैस गैस होता, इंसान रहते ही नहीं. That would have been the condition. So over the years, a lot of steps have been taken. In 1996, Supreme Court took a note of the extremely poor air quality and ordered closure and relocation of over 1,300 highly polluting industries from Delhi's residential areas beyond NCR in a phased manner. 1990s में there was a phase when, जैसे दिल्ली से आप थोड़ा साउथ में जाओगे ना, अब भिवाड़ी है या नीम राना है, those places developed as industrial town in 1990s because of a lot of industries, polluting industries locating outside. A lot of the regions around Delhi which were not part of NCR developed as industrial towns because of this decision of Supreme Court. Then in 1998 Supreme Court ordered the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change to establish Environment Pollution Control Authority to look after the air pollution problems in Delhi. This Environment Pollution Control Authority has now been subsumed by has been replaced by a new statutory body. We will study about CAQM also. 2021 में एक नया बॉडी बना EPCA को रिप्लेस करने के लिए. Then conversion of whole fleet of DTC buses, taxis and autos to CNG. Commercial vehicles, CNG vehicles चलते हैं दिल्ली में. You must have noticed that. During this time, Center also took several steps. Air quality monitoring program were revamped. National Air Quality Program was launched where a lot of monitoring stations were set up. In 2009, National Ambient Air Quality Standards were revised to include 12 categories of pollutants including PM 2.5. PM 2.5 also started getting measured as pollutant. So these were older steps. Before 2010, these were some steps taken, but then these are some other recent steps which have been taken to protect Delhi from pollution problems. One is Commission for Air Quality Management in National Capital Region, CA, Commission for Air Quality and Commission for Air Quality Management, or in National Capital Region, and EPCA in 2021 got replaced by this. About this body, we'll write a question. We will cover this body separately. इसी booklet. So institution level पे this step has been taken. We'll understand how it is better than EPC. That kind of question can be asked in the examination. We will understand that. Then coal and other unapproved fuel has been banned in Delhi from 1st of January 2000. We cannot use coal or other fuels which have been unapproved. Then BS6 was introduced in Delhi way before it was introduced in the entire country. Now it is applicable in throughout the country, but it was introduced in Delhi in 2018. Graded Response Action Plan was brought in 2017. What is Graded Response Action Plan? Under this, as pollution increases, restrictions keeps on increasing, incremental level. Construction would be banned, इस तरह की चीजें, और diesel generator would be banned. As pollution would go up, more and more strict things would happen. Delhi Electric Vehicle Policy 2019 have given a lot of push to electric vehicles in Delhi. In fact, highest number of electric vehicles in the country is there in NCR. Stubble burning के लिए, we'll cover stubble burning in some times. Stubble burning के लिए a lot of steps have been taken. Those steps like government orders are there, subsidies are there for machines, biotechnology related PUSA decomposer has been developed. All those steps are also step towards fighting air pollution problem in Delhi. Then a prohibition on polluting crackers and promotion of green crackers. In fact, Delhi में तो किसी भी तरह के crackers allow नहीं करते हैं. Odd even rule for vehicles sometimes. It comes as part of GRAP only. And construction of Eastern and Western Peripheral Expressway. So earlier what used to happen was, if you, let's say this is Delhi, if you had to go from Rajasthan to Uttar Pradesh, or if you had to go from Jaipur to Punjab, you will all go through Delhi. It used to create a lot of unnecessary pollution in Delhi. So to deal with this problem, government has created this way, so that आप साइड से निकल जाओ, you do not have to pass through Delhi. एक तो आपका भी टाइम बचेगा and it will reduce the pollution problem in. So these are certain steps which have been taken. तो देखो हमने 10-15 steps discuss कर लिए हैं. So many steps have been taken, but still Delhi में vehicles have kept on increasing, population has kept on going up, emission thus has kept on going up. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि we cannot say that government has not done anything at all. If you had come to Delhi when there was no metro, you would have faced a different problem altogether. I remember 2008 में है ना, AI उस टाइम AIEEE हुआ करता था. मेरा IIT JEE का सेंटर तो जयपुर में था, बट AIEEE का सेंटर मेरा दिल्ली नहीं, AIEEE का नहीं, बिट्स का बिट्सैट का मेरा कहीं नोएडा में सेंटर था और मैं बसों में धक्के खा रहा था. और एक मैंने आई हैड फिल्ड 4 फॉर्म्स, एक IIT JEE का था, एक AIEEE का था, एक बिट्सैट का था, हाँ एक किसका था, जादवपुर यूनिवर्सिटी का एडमिशन का कोई एक अलग से WB JEE, वेस्ट बंगाल JEE का एक एग्जाम होता था, उसका एग्जाम भी मेरा दिल्ली में था और मैंने क्या बसों के धक्के खाए. मतलब फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन माई लाइफ, वो गर्मियों का टाइम, एग्जाम्स वर हैपनिंग इन अप्रैल में, और पागलों की तरह लोग बस चला रहे हैं और भरे पड़े हैं, और उसमें दैट वाज माय फर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस इन माय होम टाउन. बसेस तो है ही नहीं ज़्यादा, ट्रैवल वो ऑटो में चलते थे, तो कभी ये वाला एक्सपीरियंस नहीं था. दैट कंडीशन वाज वे वर्स. अभी मेट्रो है, आई प्रेफर मेट्रो वेरेवर आई हैव टू गो. इवन टुडे आई डोंट हैव अ व्हीकल, आई यूज पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट एज फार एज पॉसिबल. दैट्स वे मोर कंफर्टेबल देन व्हाट वाज द सिचुएशन एट दैट. So a lot of steps have been taken, situation has improved, but still Delhi becomes a gas chain. So what has to be done? we've seen, आपको दिल्ली के एयर पोल्यूशन पे ऐसे लिखने को आएगा, उसमें भी आप 20 चीजें बता सकते हो जो दिल्ली में करी गई, बट स्टिल Delhi becomes a gas chamber. Why does it happen? Why these steps haven't been able to fight pollution, air pollution in Delhi? One is these steps have mostly been reactive. Reactive मतलब pollution बहुत बढ़ गया है तो आप उसे reduce करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, rather than planning in advance, not allowing the pollution to go up. Second, population growth of Delhi has been immense. Between 1997 and 2011, Delhi's population increased by 45% and registered cars and two-wheelers grew by 250%. अब दिल्ली के किसी भी एरिया में चले जाओ, रोड्स पे कार्स ज्यादा खड़ी हैं, राइट? लुक एट आवर ओल्ड राजेंद्र नगर, करोल बाग, लोगों ने नीचे के फ्लोर पे भी घर बना दिया, रेंट आएगा और कार बाहर खड़ी कर दी, बट दे हैव मल्टीपल कार्स. एक घर में ही आपको एक फैमिली में 3-3 कार मिल रही है, एवरीवन इज यूजिंग सेपरेट कार्स. तो कार्स हैव गॉन अप, तो कार्स ऑन रोड्स हैव गॉन अप. Vehicular pollution is a major cause. Focus on pollution control in Delhi's neighborhood has been minimal. While we have focused on pollution in Delhi, Delhi के neighborhood में cities, towns like Bhiwadi became the most polluted cities in the world. तो आप दिल्ली को थोड़ा clean रखने की कोशिश कर भी रहे हो, from the neighboring places what's happening? All the polluted air is impacting Delhi. So comprehensive approach was not there. For example, in case of Namami Gange, we'll say that गंगा को क्लीन करने के लिए मेजर्स हैव बीन टेकन इन द पास्ट, बट ट्रिब्यूटरीज पे कोई ध्यान ही नहीं दे रहा था. तो यमुना वाज हाईली पोल्यूटेड, काली सिंध एंड ऑल दोस रिवर्स वाज सो पोल्यूटेड, द चांसेस ऑफ गंगा रिमेनिंग क्लीन वाज नॉट देयर. For some of these reasons, in spite of all the efforts were reactive in nature. The efforts did not keep in mind the increasing population, increasing vehicular pollution here, and focus on Delhi's neighborhood was pretty less. So in spite of all these steps, improper and incomplete implementation of these initiatives have led citizens of Delhi to live in a heavily polluted air quality. So यहाँ पे a coalition of politics, policy, technology underpinned by public will has to be developed to deal with this air pollution problem. You may ask कि sir, where is the way forward? Way forward तो हम लिखते आए ना, NCAP में भी way forward लिखा था. NCAP was what? For cleaning the pollution, cleaning the air of cities. First topic में जो air pollution से deal कर रहे थे वहाँ पे भी way forward लिखा था. Similar way forward will be there. There's no point of repeating the same point again and again. Right? Delhi's air pollution problem. Let's now go to CAQM. The Commission for Air Quality Management in NCR and adjoining area, the new commission that has been created. ये छोटा सा आप देखोगे, in one page this small topic has been done. We're just comparing it with EPCA and saying why is it better. Sir, can we introduce with Article 21 right to environment case law or should avoid in polity GS3? करना है तो कर दो. That's a unique way. अभी जैसे climate change में we'll talk about recent Supreme Court judgment. Climate change से related Supreme Court का judgment आया, we'll talk about that. So that will give you the context. तो कुछ recent है तो कर दो. Otherwise fundamental rights और उन सबसे introduction अगर GS2 में रहेगा तो अच्छा रहेगा. यहाँ पे अगर कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, that is also one of the things that you can start with. The Commission for Air Quality Management in NCR and adjoining areas. The new body that has replaced EPCA. The new statutory body that has replaced EPCA. First, let us look at a question. हम उस क्वेश्चन के फॉर्म में इसे करेंगे rather than studying the entire commission. How is this CAQM different from EPCA? There was a body EPCA which was mandated by Supreme Court. So how is CAQM different from EPCA? Will these differences be enough to make the commission more or effective? नहीं, more effective. More effective. Will these differences be enough to make this commission more effective? Got it? How is it different? ये पूछा है. And will these differences be enough to make the commission more effective? Second aspect. तो पहले, how is it different? That will be main body. You introduce it. How will you introduce it? You can say that CAQM is a body established in 2021 to focus on the air pollution problem of NCR and the neighboring region. ऐसे शुरू कर सकते हैं. तो यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे The Commission for Air Quality Management for NCR and adjoining area is a statutory body formed by an Act of Parliament in 2021. It was needed because pollution in NCR remained very high and the existing bodies like EPCA, CPCB, SPCBs were found to be ineffective in fighting this pollution problem. Differences between EAQM and EPCA. Two bodies हैं, उनके बीच में differences देखने. First, it has statutory backing, whereas EPCA was a Supreme Court mandated body. It did not have legal backing and statutory backing. Legal backing के क्या फायदे होते हैं? It gives more power and authority to. First thing. Second, it has wider jurisdiction. EPCA had jurisdiction only over NCR, whereas it has jurisdiction over NCR and adjoining areas. So the entire state of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh comes under the jurisdiction of EAQM. Jurisdiction is higher. Third, it has broader representation. Who is part of this commission? तो इसमें सेंटर के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं, इसमें स्टेट्स के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं, इसमें NGOs हैं, इसमें there are other expert bodies, they are represented. So thus diverse viewpoints would become and better decision could be. Finally, there is improved coordination feature also. The body has the mandate power to coordinate among states, which was absent in EPCA. EPCA could also enforce some fine, but here that enforcement power is much higher. यहाँ पे up to 1 crore rupees of fine could be imposed by CAQM. In these ways, CAQM is different from easy. अब बस heading देख के भी you'll be able to. Now, these differences give CAQM the ability to be more effective. It has stronger mandate, better coordination ability, and enhanced enforcing powers. It has these advantages, but how effective will it be? Will it be more effective? ये पूछा था ना. It will depend on other aspects. How effectively it will be implemented. CAQM can come with guidelines and orders, but its success will be determined by how effectively these guidelines and orders are implemented. How much is the political will, especially among states, to work with CAQM to ensure that air remains clean? Whether we are able to improve infrastructure and give more resources to our bodies. अगर infrastructure ही नहीं रहेगा, अगर public transport अच्छा होगा ही नहीं, no matter what CAQM is able to do, will not be able to clean the air. And cooperation between stakeholders, including central government, state government, local bodies, NGOs, have to be very high in order to really make CAQM successful. Otherwise, in spite of having more authority, more jurisdiction, it may not be effective. Right? So we have analyzed what should be the way forward to make it effective. Got it? Now, इसमें ना you will see one more topic on CAQM, but ये ना factual वाला है, तो इसे आप खुद से पढ़ लेंगे. It is about अगर question about structure, जैसे statutory bodies आपके syllabus में है, GS2 में statutory bodies syllabus में, वहाँ पे they may ask about structure, appointment mechanism, right? If that kind of question is asked, then you should also know the factual aspect of it. Abhi, we have looked at the analytical aspect of it, but this question, this topic will also help you cover the factual aspect. Who are the members of the body, what is the structure of the body, those kind of things are there. इसे आप खुद से read करेंगे एक बार. Now let's go to stubble burning problem. One second. So stubble burning. So stubble burning, again you can start with defining what stubble burning is. Now you can say that after harvesting the kharif crop of rice, the stubble which is left is burned by farmer. It causes pollution. It causes pollution in Delhi region and has in recent years emerged as a major cause of concern. That is one way in which you can introduce it. स्टबल बर्निंग कैसे होती है उसे बता के, या फिर यू कैन ऑलवेज स्टार्ट विथ कि अक्टूबर आता नहीं और दिल्ली एक गैस चैम्बर बन जाता है, उसका एक रीजन, वन ऑफ द रीजंस बिहाइंड इट इज द स्टबल बर्निंग हैपनिंग इन द नेबरिंग. So every year in October, November, pollution levels spike in North India. While many factors come together to create smog, stubble burning remains a significant one, despite fewer incidents being recorded in 2023 when compared to 2020. 2023 we had lesser number of incidents, but still it's a major factor. Got it? Hamesha, like whenever, as I have told you, in mains preparation, whenever you are reading a topic, always read it from the perspective of answers कैसे लिखेंगे, इंट्रोडक्शन कैसे लिखोगे, कंक्लूजन कैसे लिखोगे, हमेशा ये सोचते रहोगे तो you will be able to write good answers. Else what is going to happen? इतना पढ़ के भी सब बर्बाद रहेगा. तो always keep in mind answer writing and always keep revising rather than studying something new. See, please understand, if you get, suppose you had not studied stubble burning wala topic altogether, but you had revised everything. Stubble burning exam में आ जाता, you would have written a below average answer because you have not, prelims में जितना पढ़ा है उससे, but अगर बाकी चीजों को अच्छे से रिवाइज कर रखा है, you would have written excellent answers there. So rather than studying, like more important than studying newer things is revising whatever you have done. Keep on revising, keep on writing. Always keep in mind कि मुझे एक आंसर के लिए पढ़ना है 150 words, 250 words. Your preparation would be very simple. Your preparation would be very easy. So stubble burning में intro is done. Now steps taken to deal with stubble burning. So what has been done to fight stubble burning? So one is various court orders. NGT ने way back in 2015 it had banned stubble burning. There are various Supreme Court judgments, High Court judgments, executive orders. That's one thing that has been done. In situ management of crop residue. This is an initiative, central sector scheme, where central government gives funds to state government to provide subsidy to individual farmers as well as FPO. Subsidy for what? For buying machines for in situ management of stubble. In situ मतलब उसी फील्ड में स्टबल कट होके डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाए, इस तरह की चीजें, उसके लिए मशीनरीज के लिए सब्सिडी इज बीइंग प्रोवाइडेड अंडर इन सिटू मैनेजमेंट ऑफ क्रॉप रेसिड्यू इनिशिएटिव. देन हैप्पी सीडर्स और अदर सच टेक्नोलॉजी आर आल्सो बीइंग सपोर्टेड बाय गवर्नमेंट. उसके लिए भी फार्मर्स आर बाइंग इट, गवर्नमेंट इज प्रोवाइडिंग सब्सिडी. अवेयरनेस जनरेशन अमंग फार्मर्स, वेरियस प्रोजेक्ट्स सच एज क्लाइमेट रेजिलियंस बिल्डिंग अमंग फार्मर्स. Climate resilience building among farmers is a awareness generation program to help farmers understand कि how stubble burning is very problematic for your field as well as for the environment. Then there are some international collaboration. जैसे एक Clean Air India initiative है. Clean Air India initiative is a collaboration between India and Dutch companies where they are working to find some technological solution to use the stubble for some economically beneficial purpose. So certain steps have been taken, but stubble burning hasn't. Has it stopped? No, it hasn't stopped. Why has it not stopped? Because farmers do not have alternative. Stubble burning is the only solution that they have for various reasons. Why do they, like, why are they violating Supreme Court judgment, NGT judgment, executive orders? Why are they getting harassed by authorities and still burning stubble? Because one, they have very little time. The crop, the next crop that they have to sow is wheat. So after harvesting rice, they have only 15-20 days, and in 15-20 days they do not have any mechanism of disposing the stubble in economic manner. Absence of market for rice straw. जो देखो wheat से जो straw बनता है या बाकी crop से जो straw बनता है ना, that is sometimes given as feed to animals, but rice straw animals में उनका acceptance कम है as feed, and thus demand for this straw is not there, causing problems, causing issues. Straw management equipment is costly and subsidies are not good enough. Government is giving 50% subsidy, but a small and marginal farmer, 86% of the land holdings in India are small and marginal. For them, paying even that 50% is difficult. And at last, burning is easy. पीते पीते डाल दिया, zero expense. Whereas removing stubble, disposing of stubble or buying equipments, all those things are expensive. Okay, but stubble burning was not a major issue in 1980s or 1970s. Farmers were still growing, agriculture तो होता था उस टाइम भी. Why in recent years? आप जब बच्चे हो गए तो आपने stubble burning, दिल्ली में pollution के लिए stubble burning was never blamed that much जितना it has been blamed over the last 10-15. So why stubble burning has emerged as a major issue only in last few years or last decade and a half? आते मैं पूछ नहीं रहा, I'm telling you the story. बता दो, आप बता ही रहे हो तो. Water stress. अच्छा, you are giving one of the reasons. सीधा उस पे आते ना कि wheat राइस को जल्दी उगाने नहीं दे रहे. आते चलिए उस पे. देखो, one reason is increased mechanization. अब when we have started using machines for harvesting, what's happening is we are just removing the crop wala section, grains wala section, and big stubble is left. In the past, when farmers were themselves cutting it, they were removing the plant from bottom, and then they were using physical mechanism to take out the seed. Whereas right now what happens, by machine only the grain part is removed and bigger stubble is left in the ground. And what is the mechanism that farmer has? Farmer is like, jala do sabko. Otherwise removing it and collecting it in some corner and all those things are going to be expensive. So mechanization, increase in mechanization has become a problem, because of which it has emerged as an issue in recent years. Then expansion of paddy cultivation in Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan and Western Uttar Pradesh. देखो, these regions are not suitable for paddy cultivation. First of all, यहाँ पे इतना पानी नहीं होता है. जैसे if you will go to West Bengal, Odisha, Bihar, those regions are suitable for paddy cultivation. But this region is not suitable. But because of irrigation facilities coming to this region, green revolution, tube wells का use for irrigation purpose, rice cultivation became possible, and then government policies. Government made open-ended procurement of wheat and rice. Wheat और rice पे subsidy announce होता है और government उस पे procure भी कर रहा है, which is not the case with other crops. So farmers moved to wheat and rice. Earlier, like if you go 100 years back, farmer in Rajasthan was not, farmer in Rajasthan or farmer in Haryana, farmer in Punjab was not growing rice. Rice is not a crop which is suitable for this region, but they have started growing it. So subsidy regime is responsible. Improvement in irrigation facilities is one of the causes, and then rules delaying onset of paddy sowing. So what is this? Paddy could be sown whenever आप पानी दे सकते हो, गर्मी हो पानी हो. Now farmers, when they were using groundwater, they started sowing paddy in May only. But it led to overuse of groundwater depletion. The government came up with a rule that paddy sowing would only start after this date, so that monsoon rain could also contribute there rather than usage of all groundwater. So when sowing got delayed, harvesting also got delayed, and after harvesting, farmer has very limited time to sow. If sowing could have been done a bit earlier, then it would have led to excess extraction of groundwater. It would have created that problem. So reasons why stubble burning has emerged as a challenge in recent years. I hope we are understanding this, we are getting it. Okay, now, so what is the way forward? मशीन से करवा लेते हैं. अच्छा, तो मशीन से करवा लेते हैं. तो इस सेइंग कि MG नरेगा की वजह से लेबरर्स आर गेटिंग गुड पे देयर, तो यहाँ पे भी दे आर डिमांडिंग हायर पे. रादर देन using machines, rather than using laborers, people are using machines for harvesting. But in long run, anyways, people would have moved to machines because machines are way cheaper. आप machine को rent करते हो, they come in your field for 2 hours, they harvest everything, they charge some amount which is way lesser than what you would have paid laborer even when you are not ready to pay his minimum wage. दुखी है, उसके खेतों में लेबरर काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, मिनिमम वेज तो देता नहीं था वो. नहीं, ऐसा एक्चुअली रियलिटी था. देखो आपके केस में नहीं, एमजी नरेगा हैज लेड टू एम्पावरमेंट ऑफ लेबरर्स टू सम. आई हैड अ फ्रेंड, मैं जब मैं पढ़ता था कॉलेज में, मेरा एक दोस्त था, उसकी ना एपीएमसी मंडी में बिजनेस था. उसके फादर का, दे हैड एन एपीएमसी मंडी में, ही वाज अ डीलर एंड ही वाज सेइंग कि now we have to pay laborer much higher amount than what we had to pay earlier. Why? Because laborer को minimum 140 rupees तो MG नरेगा में मिल जा रहे हैं ना काम करके, so why would he work in 70 rupees with us? मैंने कहा इससे तो exploitation कम हो गया उनका. बोलते हाँ, MG नरेगा का positive impact in 2008-9 in this sense had happened. This was one of the positive impacts of MG नरेगा. The exploitation, chances of exploit, when I do not have anything to eat, I'll work for even 50 rupees. But when I have an option of working for 140 rupees, I'll ask you, give 150 देगा तेरे पास आऊँगा, तो 140 का काम है. This is one of the good things about MG नरेगा. This is one of the positive things about. इसे नेगेटिव में ना ही डालो, है ना. तुम्हें नुकसान हो गया, लैंडेड क्लास अमीर आदमी, है ना. गरीब लेबरर्स को तो फायदा हुआ. अरे ये मत सोचना अमीर आदमी, मुझे पता नहीं है कौन है ये बाहर छोले भटूरे बेच रहा होगा, मुझे कोई आइडिया नहीं है. नहीं, नाराज हो गया इस बात पे, मतलब अमीर आदमी ही है. कोई मुझे छोले भटूरे वाला बोल दे, मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. ऐसे नाराज हो रहा है, मतलब सच में क्या, ऐसे कैसे बोल दिया. अरे वो भी बिजनेस है भाई, तुम नौकरी करोगे, वो अपना धंधा चला रहे हैं. सीरियसली, है ना. चलो, वे फॉरवर्ड, हाउ डू वी डील विथ द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ स्टबल. देखो एक चीज है, वी हैव टू प्रोवाइड फार्मर विद सम इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट. दैट इज द ओनली वे. आप फार्मर को कितना भी बोल लो, दिल्ली में लोग मर रहे हैं, दिल्ली में छोटे बच्चे मर रहे हैं, दिल्ली में एल्डरली मर रहे हैं हमारे स्टबल बर्न करने से. तो भाई मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है. यू वांट मी टू डू ऑल दीज थिंग्स, व्हाई व्हेन आई डू नॉट हैव इनफ मनी. मेरे बच्चे भी मर रहे हैं. 86% ऑफ द फार्मर्स आर स्मॉल एंड मार्जिनल, दे डू नॉट हैव इनफ इनकम. तो if we want to solve the problem of stubble burning, we'll have to come with a mechanism by which through the stubble farmer is able to earn some money. That is the first thing that has to be kept in mind. So biomass plants could be a possible buyer, and these plants should increase in number. Biofuel use करने वाले biomass plants in those areas may increase. You may say, sir, even in biomass plants they will burn it and pollution would happen. But pollution would not happen, all the burning would not happen in October. Plus, when in biomass plants burning happens, it happens in a controlled manner, amount of pollution is much less. Or compost manufacturing industries could be set up. This straw cannot become compost within 15-20 days, but in compost manufacturing plants in longer terms, they can convert it into compost and can pay some money to farmers. मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑफ कार्डबोर्ड और पेपर, जैसे क्लीन एयर इनिशिएटिव के अंदर वो किया गया था, दोस काइंड ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज कुड बी एक्सप्लोर्ड. और सम एग्रीकल्चर साइंटिस्ट आल्सो आर्ग्यू दैट स्टबल हीप्स कैन बी यूज्ड फॉर मशरूम कल्टीवेशन, व्हिच कैन अर्न अ लॉट ऑफ मनी फॉर फार्मर्स. सो दीज थिंग्स which increase profitability of farmers have to be kept in mind. And individual farmer may not be able to do all this. वो खुद का बायोमास प्लांट और कंपोस्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट के सेटअप नहीं कर सकता, तो वी कैन प्रमोट कोऑपरेटिव मॉडल्स इन दिस रीजन फॉर द पर्पस. और सेंटर शुड आल्सो अलाउ स्टेट्स टू इंक्लूड एक्टिविटीज लाइक हार्वेस्टिंग एंड कंपोस्टिंग इन एमजी नरेगा, सो दैट एमजी नरेगा वर्कर्स और एमजी नरेगा के अंदर हार्वेस्टिंग कंपोस्टिंग रिलेटेड वर्क कुड हैपन in a environmentally sustainable. Another suggestion which comes from expert is impose a tax, clean air tax in cities, and that money, cess bolo, clean air cess, and that money can be given to farmers if they dispose of their stubble in a sustainable manner. So eventually farmer has to get some money. we want farmer to not burn the stubble. Otherwise, farmers in India are facing income challenges. They would not spend anything from their pocket to sustainably deal with it. Okay, then increase the gap between the two crops. दूसरा एक solution ये भी हो सकता है, तो यहाँ पे with the help of biotechnology we may develop crops, rice crop, which can mature much earlier, right? Rather than gap of 15 days, if there's a gap of 30 days, the decomposition of the stubble can happen in the field only. It may increase the fertility. If this gap also increases, that can be a solution. So farmer ka income बढ़ाना can be a solution. Improving the gap, changing the crop, developing a new variety of crop, or diversify the crop. Why growing rice? That region is not suitable for rice. This diversification would happen by what mechanism? By bringing changes in our subsidy regime. That's one of the reforms that we keep on asking about. Rather than open-ended subsidy only for wheat and rice, you have to extend it for the crops which were traditionally grown there, millets, bajra, etc., or pulses, so that farmers move on to those crops which do not have the issue of stubble burning. Then iske liye one of the suggestions which Ashok Gulati is one of the famous leaders in the field of agriculture. He keeps on writing in Indian Express and gives a number of suggestions. He has said that in order to make farmers move away from rice to other crops, unko per hectare some amount of subsidy could be given. So we can do this diversification by reforming the subsidy regime and by incentivizing farmers to move to other crops. Then promoting tools with which limits the need of burning. So those tools are highly subsidized even now, but those subsidies have to further increase so that farmers finds it very, very affordable. Then explore other technological solutions, like एक पूसा decomposer है. पूसा decomposer is a product that has been developed by Pusa. If you spread it in your field, it leads to fast decomposition of stubble. That it has been used in Delhi for some years, and it has been shown to increase the productivity of land also. Or technologies like torrefaction. So a Swedish technology, torrefaction, where they treat stubble in such a way at high temperature in the absence of oxygen that stubble converts into coal-like pellets which can be used as fuel. So those are other things which could be explored. Then monitoring has to improve. Like farmers are able to burn this thing because, or the police also allows this to happen. Because we have to understand that in an area where stubble burning is happening, the police station is also manned by people from that area, and they know that farmers do not have any option. They are also like, if monitoring will be more effective. So ISRO protocol should be adopted to better monitor data of fire incident related to paddy residue. Here satellite based remote sensing technologies could be used. Long term engagement with farmers would be, if you want to achieve any of these, चाहे आप बोल रहे हो कि फार्मर का इनकम बढ़ाना है, या फिर ऑल्टरनेटिव टेक्नोलॉजीज प्रमोट करना है, या फिर मॉनिटरिंग से यू वांट टू प्रिवेंट फार्मर फ्रॉम बर्निंग स्टबल. In all these things we have to keep one thing in mind: there has to be a long term engagement with farmer, keep farmer along. The 3 farm laws which government had brought in 2020 were reformative positive steps, but the problem was it was brought in an undemocratic manner, in a non-consultative manner. Farmer leaders were not, the bill was not discussed with them. वो ordinance की तरह implement करना शुरू कर दिया उन्होंने. So they were doubtful. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to harm us? Are they trying to remove MSP? ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था कि MSP remove हो रहा है. But it was taken in a wrong manner. So for any solution to stubble burning also, all the suggestions that we have made, we have to keep farmers in loop, farm leaders in loop, keep regularly engage with them. पूसा decomposer जैसी चीज आती है, उसका penetration होने के लिए, if farmers are satisfied कि this is a good thing for them, they'll do that. आप cooperative बना के, you want to create power plants which will be able to use this stubble. Again, farmers will have to be kept in loop from the beginning only कि आपके साथ अब ये किया जाएगा, this kind of cooperative would be formed. So regular continuous engagement with farmer is crucial to find a solution. Anything imposed on them from the top, NGT ordering, stop it. They would not listen. Supreme Court saying no stubble burning should take place, they are not going to listen. The only way they listen is if you are regularly engaging with them. So what we are saying is that this problem of stubble burning is complex and needs a solution which takes into consideration the economic condition of farmer, the scientific options available, and the willingness of the central government to change the policy and fund a major part of the expenditure to fight the stubble burning problem. Okay, so देखो, in this topic we have tried to cover every aspect. हर चीज को एक दो लाइन में ही बताया है, but no matter what they ask, if the question is about why has it become a huge problem in recent decades, you'll be able to answer. If the question is about elaborate on some of the suggestions, some of the solutions, you'll be able to answer it then also, in that situation also. Okay, so I think this was it for today. इसके अलावा ना कुछ छोटे छोटे टॉपिक्स है, सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड पोल्यूशन, जैसे वो फोटोकेमिकल स्मॉग पे क्वेश्चन आ गया ना, इंडिविजुअल पोल्यूटेंट पे, ऐसे ही सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड पोल्यूशन है या अमोनिया पोल्यूशन है, इन सब पे कुछ छोटे छोटे टॉपिक्स हैं. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू कवर इट इन क्लास, ये आप लोग अपने आप से पढ़िए. These are easy ones, simple ones, same arguments are there, repeated again and again, but I do not want you people to be referring to anything else, so I'm trying to make these notes very exhaustive, covering every aspect, but in class we'll not be covering the less important things. In the entire 10 years, there has been only one question which is about an individual pollutant, photochemical smog. ऐसे ही वो सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड पे या अमोनिया पे या नाइट्रोजन पे क्वेश्चन पूछ लें, you should be able to answer them, and that is why this section, the rest of the topics are there. Do it through self study. Please note, Monday, Tuesday, I'll be taking your classes. आपका आर्ट एंड कल्चर शुरू नहीं होगा, आपका एनवायरमेंट एंड डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट वुड कंटिन्यू. नेक्स्ट क्लास में विल कंप्लीट पोल्यूशन, तो ऑल द वाटर रिलेटेड इशू, ऑल द प्लास्टिक रिलेटेड इशू, ऑल द ई वेस्ट, रेडियो एक्टिव वेस्ट, ये पोल्यूशन से रिलेटेड जितने भी इश्यूज हैं नेक्स्ट क्लास में वी विल फिनिश दैट, एंड देन विल गो ऑन टू climate change and conservation related things. Okay, thank you very much.